love that intro. Well, welcome everybody to episode 6 of delving into Dynasty, or Dynasty, however you want to say it.
Oh, I gotta back up.
Yeah, we're all good. And I did unmute my mic this time. I am learning. This is a good step.
Well done. Well done.
I'm sure I've forgotten somewhere else, but we won't go there yet. So, today we have NikkisaRiot.
Hi.
Which is pretty accurate, I'd suggest. Yeah. And we've got RealGenius, which is nice, because I've not actually spoken to you apart from in-game. So it's all good. It's good. Thank you both for coming on, volunteering as tribute. I mean, to discuss things and talk about your characters.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Oh, our pleasure.
Thank you.
So I'm hoping, as there have been a few more people on this week, there's a bit more of an update.
There is a bit more of an update. And it's going to start with non-story stuff. The whitelist was reopened with 100 additional slots, and 2 new admins were made, Melly and Booney, and they've been responsible for pushing through new whitelist applications. And last I heard, which was a day or two ago, so this may be old information, they'd done 80 out of the 100 applications, 80 of the slots now taken up.
Wow.
Could be more since then. And we've seen them through the land. People have been coming by, stopping at different settlements, asking to join, starting their own stuff. So it's been good. There's been life getting back in there, and we've been seeing numbers pushing higher than 40, which is good. So we're getting people are coming back in. People who were playing and are interested to come back. Getting a little echo. Let me turn this down here. They're interested to come back as there are people to play around with, which is good. Melly says close enough. Okay, cool. Yeah, so close enough, make no matter. Either way, whitelist been back in action, and people are coming back on, which is cool. So as part of that, our ultimate bad guys have returned with them, kind of a kickoff to the hey, welcome to the whitelist, let's murder you kind of celebration. So luckily there was not much murdering. But Jam did come back to play, so we saw a return of Grim to the Realm in an absolutely epic stream intro. And if you guys didn't catch it, go back and watch Tuesday's VOD from Jam to see that intro. He got some special guest return players. Just brilliant a return. I loved it.
Let's do it work tomorrow.
It was. I didn't expect it. And even though I knew all the players in that scene, I didn't know they were coming back to the game or had changed characters for this kind of thing, and it was just killer. So we saw the return of Grim. Sigurd's been around, but he was definitely enforced that night. Decoy's character, Ira, was back in. She plays a bit too, more often on Lillian than on Ira. But so the 7 Hells filled right back up, and immediately they started going around looking to really check out who their allies still were. And South Reach and Crescent Reach were on hand to show them, hey, we're still in business here. And there was quite a bit of talking about their plans to go wipe these people out, wipe those people out. Luckily, there wasn't a lot of blood, but they definitely went to go take a toll of what's going on the server. Take a poll, rather. They figured out that Nikki's character has risen up to a position of power. Some people they thought were dead are still alive. Some new people coming out to oppose them, and then getting a hint of all the other storylines that don't involve them, but could be affected by their return, or just, let it be seen on stream with, a couple hundred viewers that there's these stories going along, when the cameras aren't on, or when there's other streamers playing. So it was a good week back. A lot of people back in the game, a lot of new faces. So it was a good time.
Excellent.
Since the last episode, anyway.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Well, that's good news all round.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh meat, fresh blood.
Yep. And since there was a new patch today with a lot of new features, we're expecting quite a few new people to get back in as well.
I heard they made or gave a boost to herbalists.
Mm-hmm.
They did. They created a new herbalist garden. I haven't had a chance to do it myself yet, but it looks like you'll be able to plant specific herbs in the herbalist garden to grow for further picking. So that looks pretty badass. People who want flux rejoice. It looks like it'll be pretty good. And since the server just came up literally like 15 minutes ago, because it had to go through a couple restarts to get a couple new patches going for fixing things, I expect there's 30 or so people in there right now checking them all out. I don't have any first-hand experience with it yet. I was trying.
Excellent. Something to look forward to then this week.
Yep. A little later on, we can talk about some of the changes too, if people are interested, if they haven't seen the patch notes yet.
Yeah. I thought it might be worth just having a quick read through those.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's say just in case people haven't seen them already.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So just a quick shout out. We were supposed to have another guest on today. Unfortunately, he's managed to get himself admitted to hospital. And that's Jimmy Swag. So we wish Jimmy a speedy recovery.
Yep.
Miss you, Pocahontas.
There we go. Well, make sure we do get him on at some point. Because he was one of the first people to volunteer. He was going to come on with Jay Belize, but getting them both on together and at a weekend was proving impossible.
That's someone I haven't seen much around, is Jay Belize. I hope. I don't know. I think he was in the server for a few days. I was curious to see what character he came up with this time, but I haven't seen him since then.
Okay, he was in for the first 2 weeks, I think.
Was he?
Yeah. And I believe he got his whitelist accepted for Twitch RP. So
fair enough.
I think he abandoned us to go join their party.
That's all right.
So, no, I think actually he's been playing a bit of Daisy recently and stuff as well, so I guess he just got a bit bored.
Fair enough.
I guess he needed a change. So hopefully he'll come back. We'll see. So I just realised what I'm missing. I'm missing my notebook. It's got all my notes in from the last few weeks. I told you I was forgetting something.
You're aware that you're sitting in front of like a $2,000 notebook, right?
Right.
All right, just throwing that out there.
I do D&D. Pen and paper is the way forward.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we won't go there. I'm gonna have to try and remember things now because I had a list of things I wanted to talk to Nikki about.
Oh God. Oh no.
Yeah. You're right, I can't remember any of them at the moment, so you might get off the hook.
Oh.
But as we're there, why don't we start with you? Why don't you introduce us to your character?
I play Rhea. She's the leader of Crucible. She got that job after Buckle's first character got murdered, and no one else would answer the door in our piece, so I stepped up to that and took that role. Basically, that just means that I answer the door. All the decisions made in Crucible is made all like as a group, so
The figurehead.
yeah, figurehead of everything. Then slowly, I went on to become the figurehead of the realm, which again, someone described it as the glorified head of the complaints department, which I think is quite accurate in this case.
Brilliant.
So yeah, that's pretty fun. I live in Crucible. I answer to the Pope, so a lot of the times when people goes, why do you make that decision or that choice, it's because I have to then consider where I come from, the actual settlement that I come from, which is a Catholic sort of vibe going on. I'm in trouble a lot for leaving the settlement without any sort of protection. It's a common argument that's coming up all the time. And, oh, my screen went black. There I am. And that's really it, really.
There's more. She's being shy.
Yeah, I was going to say. Everybody
Can we-
keeps
I'll
mentioning
come round.
bumping into you, and
Oh, yeah. You'll see me on my own, on a horse, crash into a tree, and I'll be in trouble for that. And the first question will be, so who are you riding with? Because everyone knows the answer will be, no one.
brilliant. Brilliant. Oh dear, I don't know. Figureheads or queens.
It depends on who you talk to, depends on what I get called. If you talk to people like Wimrush, I get called Queen. If you talk to people like Alec at Slesvig, I'm figurehead, if he's being nice.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So, on your travels, who have you bumped into?
You want to listen? I've met close to most people on the server, I think. If not like as an actual character I've had Paybe or someone I've just passed and said hello to. I spend a lot of time at Southreach with Goodbrand, which is played by Alma, and Nazkill's character, which is Doris, and I spend a lot of time at Legend with Melly's character, Jocelyn. Well, I know most people. And everyone knows me, so they'll all just appear and talk to me, so it's cool. It's really fun.
Excellent. Brilliant. So, do you have any plans? Is it
Not
figure out
die.
of the realm? Not
My
die.
first one is
That
not
a good
die.
plan.
And then my second one is not to annoy anyone enough that they'll want to come and kill me. So, finding balance between that is quite difficult at the moment, because
Great.
everyone has strong opinions on that server. So trying not to... You either fall into like 3 brackets. You either like me, hate me, or you don't really care. So you think, which one of those am I going to annoy? Who am I in there? Am I going to annoy first?
Excellent.
I'm curious as to what Rhea's backstory is, or if there is one.
She had lived with a father. He had a gambling problem. Put Rhea up as kind of like a answer to the gambling problem, and the Pope intercepted and took Rhea away. Basically, really simple.
That's
Not big.
Cool. It's cool.
Nice. Keep it short and sweet.
Well, that makes sense. The relationship between her and the Pope, then, that I
It's
have no
more-
idea otherwise.
Yeah, she was kind of taken in by Hugh and the Pope, so she has like 2 sort of. She takes a more father figure in Hugh when he was alive, but she takes the father figure in Hugh, but like has to be thankful to the Pope because it's his overall group. So.
Excellent. Who is the Pope?
He's played by Inhibited, and he's called Otho. You'll see if you go to any sort of party or any sort of wedding, he'll generally be with me. So a lot of the time, but he wears plate, which is really confusing. Not a monk's outfit, so.
Of course.
You'll see him as like
Would have-
a person at the side of me in play, and it's generally him.
Excellent.
Yes, he takes a bit more of an active role in that, but it's been peeling back to a kind of a less plate role, but still.
He does a lot behind the walls of Crucible, like a lot of the things that happen, like what Rhea decides and things like that, is kind of driven from behind the walls of Crucible with the Pope. So.
Excellent.
He's a very quiet man, but what they say is watch out for the quiet ones.
Yeah.
He's got a good character going on. I really enjoy playing with him.
Brilliant. So, you're, well, you've got a pretty impressive building up at Crucible.
Yeah, the grind for that is not one that I think any of us will ever. You don't appreciate how horrible that game is until you go to build castle walls and a castle keep, and then you really realise how horrible that game can be to you. And when you're all stuck in like the little mines, all trying to get granite, and you're all banging into each other, and someone's standing in the middle trying to shape it, and another person's running backwards and forwards, and all you can hear is TSS people screaming at one another, you really start to appreciate like how horrible the game is.
And if you take a break for 5 minutes,
and that's
people
it.
come out of the people come out of the woodwork and start getting in your mind. You got to chase them away with a pickaxe.
Yep. Yep.
Or you get yelled at by fecal thunder.
Yeah. And like the only thing that we could ever say when we started building the walls, because obviously it was such a grind, was the ongoing joke in Crucible was, "Oh, that's funny. Now go dig." So every chat we went into, you would always see things like, "Why are you out the mine? Are you digging? Are you working still?" And he was like, "If you weren't working and you were online, you were in trouble."
Wow. Okay. Glad I didn't join Crucible.
Nah, it's a good place.
No, yeah, it's fun. It's
It's gonna
fun.
be too much work. See, stick with the wooden walls. Throw them up in 5 minutes.
Yeah, let's see. Shield Maidens had wooden walls. They were wiped out. Slevzig had wooden walls. They were wiped out.
Yeah.
But Crucible
I know
had
what you're
so
talking
more
about.
and still got beaten.
Well, they were outside the walls. They got wiped out.
They are pretty though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting theory here. Walls are just not as safe as they should be.
Well, that's because they have doors.
Yeah.
They didn't have doors.
we have this thing at Crucible is that people like to prove to us that our walls are penetrable by like jumping over them with horses and things, just to prove that we still haven't got it completely right yet, and
Yeah.
that seems to be a bit of a common occurrence that keeps happening.
Why did you tell people on stream that that we're playing?
Because everyone knows. Because
Yeah.
it was to the point where Wimrush did it the other day, and I was like, well, we've got castle walls. You can't get past them ones.
Yeah. Yeah, every time we think we level it out just enough, someone
Yeah.
else is jumping over.
Mhm.
You thought of adding spikes.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yep.
Can you actually do that yet?
No.
No, not sure.
Nah, the only ones are there on the front of the
The archers.
wooden gate.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, there's some archer ability as well. But yeah, nothing yet. Do that.
That's a shame.
We'll get it.
Spike pits around every wall. Brilliant. Okay, so you've actually been inside Legend.
Mhm. Mhm.
Is it as scary as it sounds?
Legend's awesome. Legend's set out really nice. They have some pretty nice areas in Legend. I really like it. And they've got really good characters in there when you get to IP with them. It's really fun. I spend a lot of time at Legend because obviously I spend a lot of time with Jocelyn's character because she plays the same age range as me. So that's pretty cool. No,
She's a
Legend
bit
have some
more,
really good architecture.
Forward
Mhm.
in certain
Well,
areas of
yeah.
houses,
Mhm.
like the bedroom.
Oh, Jocelyn, are you sure you don't mean Samara?
Yeah, two characters.
Two characters. Melly plays
okay.
Tia.
Wow. Okay.
Jocelyn's the nicer of the two.
Okay,
the cute one.
I think I've seen Jocelyn then. It's the only person I've seen Melly play was, well, attempting to teach you about the birds and the bees on your stream.
Yeah. Samara, that was Samara. Samara is not suitable for stream, is what we've discovered. So she doesn't get to come in anymore.
Oh, brilliant.
But no, she's one of my favourite characters. Is RP with Samara because she's the only character I've seen who's shut up like a group of men in like one question. She's answered one question and that's it. The whole room's silent, and that for me I just find really impressive.
Brilliant. Well, nobody hates her, Melly.
No, nobody hates her. No.
It's just, yeah, you need an R-rated stream to watch. Brilliant. So, apart from Legend and Southreach, and your own place, where else? Who else do you bump into regularly?
I regularly go down to Wimrush's place. My whole favourite character on the server, without a doubt, is Gerald, played by Pycroft. And he's Wimrush's sort of one of the men who lives with Wimrush, and his humour is so sarcastic. It really, like, for me, out of character, it really makes me laugh when I go visit. And it's always sort of fun to RP with him because you never know what he's going to say, but it's always going to be dead sarcastic, so it's brilliant. So I spend quite a bit of time down there. Basically all the keeps. The only one that I don't really go to, like I only ever go like the outside of it, is Slesvig. and I'm always on the outside of Slesvig. I never got inside the walls. I've been in once, and that was last week, and it was the first time, and it was to see it was in the keep, and that's the first time I'd ever been to like inside the walls of Slesvig. I've obviously never been inside the Shield Maidens, because for obvious reasons. I've been inside Seven Hells, you know, inside there. There's a lot of small places I haven't been, but like I've gone past them or ridden past them or looked at them while no one's been there. But I tend to stick to the big settlements because that tends to be where I'm IPing mostly.
Excellent. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So, what would you say one of your favourite encounters has been?
Oh. I hadn't answered this earlier when someone asked me, but now, my favourite encounter, probably, this one was done away from stream and it was just one with me. It was Booney and Melly's characters when they professed love for each other, and I was stuck in the back corner of the keep and couldn't move because they were having a really intense love romance in the corner, and I was at the back of their keep and I was like, what do I do? So I just sidestepped slowly to the other side of the keep, and it's the funniest moment ever because I was like really trying not to make a sound and not ruin this really cool RP moment where they fell in love, and all I heard was, is that Rhea in the corner? I was like, oh my god, I ruined it. And it's my favourite just because I was trying to push Melly's character into confessing the love, and I was like, do it now. And like in RP, I was thinking, I mean like when I've gone. But no, Melly took that as right that second and started a really confusing love romance with Booney right in the middle, right in front of me. I was like, oh, no. Definitely my favourite moment so far.
Brilliant. Just imagine it, actually.
I had to walk, like, we started like saying how much they loved each other, so I just turned my back on them and looked at a tree, and I was like, this is all I can do. I can't move, I can't say anything, so I'll look at this tree for 10 minutes.
I bet it was a very interesting tree.
Oh, it's brilliant. It was an elm, quality 100. You know?
Wow. Okay, interesting. And what about? So, what's your most dangerous encounter been?
This time with Grimgrey. As you can see from my facts, I like to fight bears, and I do that quite regularly when I'm stressed out at Crucible because we're all like having a moment, or Buckle's character is somewhat nasty to me and I'm going off in a sulk or something like that. I'll go off and the tournament ground currently when it's on rotation has a bear spawn, so I like to go play there, and I literally went and fought the bear, but my horse lost stamina as I was circling the bear, and the bear obviously got to me and it like ripped me to shreds, and I had 50 hard points, and I went back to Crucible and there was no healer on, so I was like, oh damn it. And then just to get off my horse and I'm bleeding, I've got 50 hard points, I'm like, this is really bad. Grim turns up to talk to me, and I was like, I'm not I was like, he's getting spoken to from the castle walls because I ain't coming down from here with 0 health. No, that was definitely the most scary moment when I had like 0 health and obviously the half of 7 houses at my doorstep.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary on full health.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, jeez. Okay.
Mm-hmm. This is like a long line of stupid decisions I've made just before something happens, like important happens. So for people in Crucible, they'll be there going, for God's sake, Nikki. Because that's classic me. That's what I always do.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you ever thought of fighting something slightly less dangerous?
What? So there's no fun in that. Like, I constantly get babied by a lot of people on the server because I'm playing the figurehead. So I'm constantly getting followed home, even when I say I don't want an escort, and I'm constantly getting, like, people telling me to stay inside the castle walls. So when I sneak off, I want to do something rebellious, so go fight a bear.
Go and fight the most dangerous animal on the place.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I've got to get our thrills from somewhere.
It's a weird thrill.
It is a bit being mauled by a bear.
I generally, no, on the tournament ground, I stand on the castle wall and I shoot at it. It just so happened that the bear wasn't, even though I shot it, it still wasn't running at me. So I was struggling to hit it, so I went and circled it, and it decided the moment I fell off my horse to start to attack me. Happens, it happens.
Do you not hunt them with fire arrows?
Oh no, no.
Or is that
Just-
too
just-
easy?
Just basic arrows. Make it hard, basic arrows.
Probably not even bodkin. You're probably just shooting with normal arrows.
Mhm.
Good, good.
Brilliant. They're at least high quality arrows.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everything's high quality.
Yeah, server's been long enough.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. Excellent. Right. Okay. So. Yeah, you actually sound pretty dangerous to be around. Baiting
Well-
bears, getting moles,
Well,
trapped
only if
inside
only if
people's
you
castles
run
while
into
they're
me. Yeah.
getting into it.
Only if you run into me on the
Love
street.
scenes.
Like, if you come visit me at Crucible, I'll generally just be changing tanning tubs and arguing with Buckles or the character. So you know, that's basically it. It's only when I'm outside the walls on my own that you've got to worry.
Walking calamity.
Yeah, basically.
Excellent.
I won't die to another character. I'll die to just environment. No, but yeah, you'll just find my body one day on the beach. You'll be like, oh.
All I can say is it better be a ball that's standing over it.
Yeah. It may just be a bear sat next to it, or it'll be worthless.
Excellent. Alright. Brilliant. Okay, well, while I try and remember some of the notes I had, which I still can't do, what we'll do is we'll move on to Roland.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because I suspect... Well, you should have quite a nice tale to tell, really. On the server
Yeah.
From day one, pretty much.
Yeah, it's been a ride, that's for sure. You want me to start at the beginning, or do you want me to start?
Yeah. Tell us about his background first.
He has a pretty simple background. He comes from, a wealthy, educated family. Kind of worked in, in the castle, but wasn't, anybody special. But so he never worked hard. He never, he wasn't a farmer or anything like that. So he fell in love with a girl who was betrothed to the prince, and Prince exiled him. So he came to this new land literally not having any skills that would benefit him whatsoever. So he didn't know how to do a damn thing. And that was my excuse because I'd never played the game. I played the game for 10 minutes before I logged into Twitch Dynasty for the first time. So I need an excuse to have to, I'm sorry, I can't, you gotta teach you gotta teach me everything. So I was fumbling around, kind of out there on the beach, and Alexander found me because the maidens were. You could see the maidens from where I was. I was like, oh shit, there's people building by me already. It's like, I don't know how this is gonna go, and they recruited me, said, yeah, we'll teach you everything. So I said, all right, and apparently you were there, Cetra, right? And I had no idea. Cetra just stood at the blacksmith. That's all he did. And rarely ever talked to him. And yeah, so I learned the basic mechanics by just building and chopping trees, hauling dirt, and that's what I did. And that's all I planned on it to be. I was like, you know what? This is great. I love it. I'll just be some guy in the background just watching everything, and it'll be great. And holy shit. So, yeah, we grew in numbers, and Grim came to harass the maidens, and, killed them all, and as we watched. And that's still a great scene, and I was the only one to hop the fence and get away on my horse, which led to 2 paranoid weeks of living on top of a mountain by myself in the Northeast, which I still go back to visit every now and then. And it was seriously, I was so scared up there. I got it because I was very good about not watching anyone else's streams, so I didn't know if they were coming after me, whatever. And so I made a monument, and I swore revenge. Like, okay, I'm gonna build myself up, and I'm gonna go kill Grim Gray for the two mains and my friends. That was my motivation. And I built a monument, and I called it Grim's Grave.
Nice.
I went to bed that night. I woke up. There was a dead horse carcass next to the monument. I don't know who put it there. I don't know how it got there. Then I was really scared. I was like, shit, somebody knows where I am. What the fuck do I do? Sorry for the language. And I was freaked out, and so I said, I need to find somewhere to hide. Roland went down kind of everywhere. He ended up going down to Southreach, and Southreach said, Naz at the time said, yeah, we'll take you in, help you out. Tuck was there. Tuck was like, yeah, and I knew Tuck from when he first hit the lands. He came to the mains, and so I had a little bond with Tuck, and everything was great, but everything was weird. Everything was like, you're just that guy. Like, no one's really talking to you. No one's really like, they're talking about you, but no one's talking to you. And I can't remember who it was, if it was Vindare or somebody else, but someone basically walked up to him and said, it's not safe for you here. And I was like, I knew it! And so then I'm paranoid. Okay, when do I leave? When do I get out of here? And people in my chat are like, you need to leave now. And I'm like, well, I can't just go now, I just and then I'm shooting my horse from the arrow, just building up my archery skills. No one's talking to me. Tuck's walking, everyone's walking around, just not talking to me. And then Patty shows up. And the second I heard his voice, I'm like, oh, I got on my horse. Literally, he walks in the door. I got on my horse, walked right behind him, right out the door. And they're all worried about Patty, and then talking to Patty, and then I just and I went back to my mountain. Nice. So went there for a few days, and didn't know what to do then, and I kind of went by Crucible. Just mopey and see what's going on, and maybe somebody else will take me in. I didn't know. I decided I was going to eventually confront the maidens, and one day I was going back to the maidens. I was like, you know what? I was on my horse riding around, and I was like, what? Screw it. Let's go see somebody. Let's go see if Sylvia's there, because I still haven't talked to Sylvia. I know she's still alive, but I'd heard that the maidens had gone with Grim, or allied with Seven Hells, so I was not going to approach them, but I decided I didn't know what to do. And literally, from where I was on the East Coast, and I'm crossing over, I bump into Alec. It's Lesvig. Totally like I'm going to the maidens, and me and Alec strike up this conversation, and all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, I'm in Slesvig. I was like, well, I guess things happen for a reason. And I've been in Slesvig ever since, and Slesvig has been amazing. Some amazing characters. It's been so much fun, which is then funny because then Wayward Wizard Oswin showed up, and who's just a tremendous character. He's my new bestie, as I call him. And yeah, the stuff's gone on there. Obviously, recently with Subutai dying, and but before that, all the drama with kicking Alec out of power for being stupid and mean. and yeah, and then I found out a little bit. And then when I found out later, Roland finds out that Tuck was going to hand over Roland to the Seven Hells as like a peace offering. So, yeah, and not gonna lie, I already knew in game. Once I knew in game, I went back and watched the VOD. I was like, you bastards.
Nice.
And apparently they actually went to, Jam went to Southreach to collect me, and I wasn't awake at the time.
Oh.
So, the other joke about...
Yeah, saved by a nap. Well done.
Yeah, the other joke about Roland is that digging dirt saves my life. So it has saved my life 3 times. During the raid on Crucible, when Buckle and everyone got killed, I was on my stream and I just woke up, said, "Hey, I'm gonna go talk to Crucible today. Let's do that. Let's go to Crucible." And I'm looking at my thing like, I want to finish this dirt right here though, and ended up digging dirt for an hour, and then all of a sudden was like, dude, if you would have went to Crucible, you'd be dead. People popped in my chat and going, "You are so lucky." and that has happened 2 or 3 times. So the story now. There's so much crap going on in Schleswig. Got my little. There's the whole Tyrant issue. There's the whole Crescent Reach. Right before we got off stream the other day, Crescent Reach, Zacchaeus threw a really interesting offer Roland's way, and he has no idea what the hell to do about it. So, and we're gonna have a power struggle as to who's gonna take over Schleswig, which will be decided tonight after this at some point. So, tease.
Interesting.
Tune in to find out more.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been pretty quiet then. Nice and,
Right.
Nice and chill.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's been the most fantastic ride. It really has. And all the people who have, from when I started, the 2 or 3 viewers who stuck with us through the cooking of fried beast for 3 hours. There were people who watched all that, and then all of a sudden now the story's gotten good, and it's been a ride. It's been awesome.
Nice. Brilliant.
It's been a lot of fun to watch you and to play with you. I think you've been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Not Nikki though. I hate playing with her.
No.
You died while moving dirt. He lived because he moved dirt.
Right.
He's the loser there.
Hey, what can I say? Wow. Brilliant. Yeah, because, I mean, as far as CI was concerned, etc., we sort of knew you were the only one that got away.
Mm-hmm.
As far as most of Shield Maidens were concerned, you just kind of disappeared.
Well,
It was a long time before I ever sort of heard your name again, really.
Well, it's because I was literally hiding on a mountain.
First time we met you, you came down to get your armor.
Right.
Yeah, and that was like, we were like, there's a dude at the door saying that he's been in a massacre and he wants us to beat on him, so he raised up his armor. What do we do?
I think there was like 3 offers to we'll beat on him.
Yeah, like casual usual Crucible players. We're like, oh, just let him in. Not like we need the drama. Get in.
Got drama at the doorstep, and we get to beat on him.
Yeah,
Right.
There we go.
Right.
Sounds hard.
Yeah,
to
and that was like meeting Hugh and Rhea. Like they were the first people to that I talked to who were like, "Yeah, dude, we'll help you." I was like, "Awesome." And then a few later, they died.
Well, Hugh died.
Right. Just
a
Hugh
couple
died.
of us.
Right.
Yeah.
We're really twisting that knife in Buckle's stomach today, aren't we? Going hard.
I kind of figured it was going to happen today. That's all right.
It's alright, we just wait to invite Nikki back on again. It'll be fine.
It's okay, I put Buckle in his place a couple of times.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe we'll replace Buckle and keep Nikki.
There you go.
Yeah. Like Crucible.
Shots fired. Wow. Yeah.
There's going to be a regime change tonight, man.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen tonight. I'm scared.
I hope so, yeah. It's looking good. People are going to be in to get being excited about the new patch. It was already filling up just before we started the show, so I think it's going to be a nice full server tonight.
Well, hopefully they're all working on the herb gardens then, because
Yeah.
it'll be safer that way.
But I'm thinking about now, the only bad thing about the herb garden is going to be there's going to be less herb trade. And I know that a couple other guys really enjoyed the herb trade, and that started a lot of good interactions. None for me because I don't do herbalism because that's the pits. But for some of these guys, there was a lot of good ways. Like we had a lot of good interaction for people who were legend for coming over to trading herbs and stuff. So hopefully that keeps going even if we have herb gardens, because it would be a shame to lose that kind of RP scenario.
Yeah.
And there's a wedding tonight.
There's a wedding tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's a wedding night.
Who's getting married now?
Zacchaeus and Sophie.
Oh, okay.
So 2 different keeps going together.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they going to live?
Indeed.
Crescent Reach, I thought.
I was going to say, who's leaving where?
I don't know. You have to ask Ben.
Yeah. Alright, brilliant. So, weddings, funerals, any funerals? Anyone else died recently?
We're gonna have a funeral for Sebutai, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that'll probably be tonight or tomorrow.
Alright, Mrs. C, God.
You tell him, Mrs. C.
The thing is, in the last couple of weeks, I've never had more than an hour to play games. And it's really hard just to play Life is Feudal for just an hour.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so, yeah.
I tried that.
So what really stinks is so the first 2 weeks on the server, or when it was the first week or so, I was unemployed looking for a job, and I was spending all day with all the damn terraforming and building all the walls of the shield maidens. I mean, I did a lot of shit, and then I got a job.
Built that keep between us.
Right. And then I got a job, and now it's like I can only play like 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day, depending if I want to get any sleep.
First world problems.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh.
I'm supposed to have Wednesdays off, because I have uni the next day, so I try not to play later than 4 o'clock in the evening when I have uni. And on Wednesday night this week, I was up till 2 a.m. RPing, on my day off, just because you can't, if someone comes to RP with you and the story starts rolling, you can't stop it, you've just got to go with it, whether it takes an hour or 4, and you end up being there for a lot longer than you anticipate. You stand there and go, when did he suddenly go to 10 p.m.? When did this happen?
Every day this week, I've been wanting to go to bed 2 or 3 hours before that I did, because the RP was going and we couldn't stop the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's even worse as well when you, because you live in, obviously, there's Europe and then there's America, and obviously, if you want to play with certain characters, you've got to stay on late to RP with certain characters.
Right.
Obviously, if I ever want to RP with Buckle's character, I've got to be on later. Right. So it's just some nights where you're just like, nope, got to stop it, got to leave, bye. Sorry, guys, not RPing with you.
Right.
Yeah.
There was one time where I saw a guy at the gates, and I was like, it was already way past. Like, I have to go to bed. Like, I'm not approaching him because I can't. Like, I need to go to bed.
Yep. I think most people are cool with that, and I'll come up with reasons in game like, it's getting to be sundown. I gotta go because sundown's coming. Like that's the because whatever, because I need to go to bed, or I've been sitting here RPing with you and I really have to pee, that kind of thing. So you just make up an excuse. Most people are like, oh yeah, cool. All right, we'll talk later. All right.
I've tried using magic tricks if I want to leave and I don't know how else to do it. I'm like, do you want to see a magic trick? And then I put it home.
That's a nice way of doing it. Awesome. It takes ages though to level up. Can't even remember how to pronounce the word now. Piety?
Piety, yes.
We got it really easy because we were obviously on the granite grind for the castle walls and the castle keep, and I did run in because I wasn't very high enough to mine, but I had high construction, so I basically run up to the mine, pick up 60 shaped granite, pray home, put them in the wall, repeat that for 5 hours. And before you know it, you get pretty high.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I tried doing it a few times, and after the sort of 13th or 14th attempt at praying home and failing,
Yeah,
I just gave up.
yeah. Until you get to 13, you can actually use like your daily prayer. Praying home is just impossible. It's like 1 in 7 chance of actually doing it.
I actually thought it was a bug in the game. I thought, well, this is just bugged. I just won't bother trying it.
When you get past about 60 piety, it starts to get a bit more stable. It's like it's like you either do or don't. But then if you get to 90, it does it every time without fail. Daily prayers, guys. Daily prayers. Positive alignment. Daily prayers.
Yep.
Brilliant. Oh, that sounds like far too much hard work to level though.
It works in our favour being the Catholic. So what used to happen if people came to the gates when they were leaving, I always used to do my daily prayer to them, and it was like, there we go, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, the Pope had to do it for like 10 hours, just sitting there, hitting the button, wait for cooldown, doing it, and then
Pope, yeah.
before we had a bindable house for him, because he was trying to get it right away, he was just appearing random places all over the island. And like, he's gone quiet in TeamSpeak. That's because all he's doing is hitting 7 and like watching Star Trek. I mean, that's it. That's all he's doing. He'd RP if he found people, but he's just like, that's how you get Pope.
Wow. Yeah, that's nuts.
That's life is futile.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Oh dear. I thought of one of the things off my notes. At some point a couple of weeks ago, there was talk of Rhea being the head of a secret council.
Right, so that's gone. Wow. So, obviously, you know, people like to drink while playing the game, and one thing that happens is I do that too. And so does Coffee Stain's play. And we both ended up in the same like keep together. And I think he was like adamant that if I wanted to be leader, queen, I had to take on the role of making a council that was ahead of all the leaders of the keeps and all coming together and like being like a council, and then I get overriding say, was the argument. But that never happened because about 2 minutes after that, Slizzard got attacked. So it was like, so good luck with that. None of the leaders want to talk to one another anymore. So no, it wasn't secret. It was just it never got past the sort of initial conversation phase. It was a drunk conversation between me and Coffee Stain's play that was at like 7 a.m. my time, so it wasn't like I was keeping logs either of it. I just remember coming back and hearing him say it to someone else, I was like, oh god, I did say that, didn't I? And that was it.
Excellent. IRL drinking can get you in trouble in game.
It's been 90% of the bad. It's always early morning, and if I've been drinking that like for a long period of time, then Rhea does stupid stuff. It's the answer. It's the answer. Bad decision. Log off the game now. Stop.
That's why you need another character to run around and do drunken stupid things.
I have one though. That's the thing. Like when I get sick of playing, no one knows her because the people who meet her, they will know her, but they won't know her for long. And she's French, so if she doesn't want, if I'm bored of playing Rhea or I want to change a scene, I'll log onto my all. And if you try and talk to her, she speaks French to you or ignores you. And if she does speak to you, like the nicest thing she said to someone is she compared them to a Shih Tzu. So you know, she's complete opposite of Rhea. So if you meet her, unfortunately, she'll either speak to you in French or insult you, which for me is a nice reprieve from playing really nice Rhea.
Wow. Okay. Brilliant. Do you speak French well?
No. I have Google Translate on the tab. And the best part of Google Translate is if you click the sound button, the French person says it for you. So I can say exactly, just copy it. It's perfect. Works in my favour every time.
Excellent. I never thought of using that. That's brilliant. Life hacks with Nikki. Sorry, I'm just noting that down.
Okay.
Oh, wow. About Roland. What does he think of what the Shield Maiden started doing, allying with the Seven Hells?
He is confused beyond, like, he doesn't get it. So he's been wanting to talk to Sylvia, who's obviously been gone forever. But he obviously trying to get her alone because he's heard of Helen and who the other, I don't even know who the other one is. Who Vesper is now, and he doesn't get it. He's just totally no idea. Yeah. So just like he doesn't know why Rhea is. Oh, Sigurd, it's nice to see you.
I am following. I am following the instructions given to me by Kasim, the Pope, and Southreach, and I play on such a dangerous knife edge all the time. And as Nikki, I stand there and go, oh, not again. But as Rhea, I've just got to flow with it. So when I'm told that this area is neutral by the Pope, and I answer to the Pope, that area is neutral, and I will make it as neutral as possible. Hence why she was so angry that Roland ran over him with a horse. I was like, no! I was like, no fighting here!
Brilliant. And I guess that's why you backed down the other day when you had Grim knocking on your door asking for who the bandits were.
No, that was a different situation. That was I could either put myself in trouble and not tell them anything, or I could have progressed someone else's storyline by telling them. Okay. And so, if I like to stay true to my character, and that either way it would have been true to her, but it was kind of like a situation of, do I push this forward, or do I put Crucible back in the situation where we could potentially be attacked? And in that case, it was like, yeah, I'm selling Buckle out. Bye.
That actually, it ties in well something I wanted to talk about tonight, is where, I mean, I think at least three of us here are in on, the big storyline that we're trying to craft around the server. And I know that some of the people we're playing with are more adamant about a certain outcome than the rest of us. Even though we do want to see that outcome eventually, we kind of want to create theater around it. So both of you guys are streamers. We have other streamers on the server. So I say it a lot. The server is a living world. It has to keep going. So we can't just stop. Because a streamer stops streaming, that doesn't mean his story is going to stop going until the next time he's on stream. But there's a certain degree of respect, maybe, or understanding that someone's going to be at the top of their game when they're streaming. So for the two of you guys, do you prefer to do those plot moments, like you're saying, furthering someone's story, when there's a stream going, and try to stay quiet during the times when there isn't a stream going? Or do you just go regardless of whatever's happening? How do you guys like to handle that?
I've streamed every second of Roland's adventures. So it doesn't, every 200, I think I'm at 212 hours. So it's all been streamed, so doesn't stop me. Although I think people would like it if I didn't always stream. I've heard that, but I actually I brought it up in chat. Either I was today or yesterday, and someone yelled at me don't you dare just not stream. They're so damn invested in the story. Mm-hmm. And then I see the other side, like with Jam. So the whole thing with Shield Maidens, I can't believe he wasn't streaming, because the RP was epic. I mean, it was unbelievable, and nobody saw it. I mean, the three people watching me. Crom was streaming it, so I mean, people were watching Crom saw it. But I mean, holy God, it was gold. I hope he at least recorded it, because oh my God, Mm-hmm. So I'm scared if I'm not streaming, I'm gonna miss a moment like that.
Sure.
I'm the opposite. I believe very strongly that if you stream something, you give the audience an element of control of your character. It can't be solely yours, because they as we've seen a lot of the time that Jam needs to kill is because the chap wants the blood, and that's what I'm a big advocate. I'm a big person who says, well, if you don't want to have a story that is, if you want to have a character that you just play, then you have to stream little, because by streaming it, you're giving power to the viewers who want to see certain things, which is fine. That's what they should. So for me, it depends on the storyline plots. If it's Buckle's character, I try not to stream when I'm playing with him, because there's such a secret behind that character, behind the characters, that I can't talk about the things that I need to talk about in character if I'm streaming it, because then them secrets leak out. So,
right. And that's the big concern.
Yeah, and then them stories, and then obviously that comes up in chats and things like that, and people get confused, and other things start coming out. So things like that I try to keep off. So when I'm on, like, the parts I do stream are things like with my relationship and friendship going on at Southreach, like, to make sure that everything to do with keeping me safe, keeping Rhea safe, is all intact and things like that. And I kind of like to say that it gives you, like, my streams, so I only do it like once a week, gives you a little insight into Rhea's head, rather than you get to see the full journey, you get to see a short little bit inside her head. And that's kind of how I do it.
Okay.
I wish you were streaming the other night when it was you, me, and Inhibited on top of the castle keep, because
I recorded it.
Good, because you two were so fucking good, and I was like, that was one of those times, like, I have to go to bed, but I'm in TeamSpeak with these guys, but it's muted, and we're all three of us role playing, and like, it was just beautiful. You guys were crushing it. And it's one of those times I really wish you were streaming, because people would have loved. They would have gone wild for what you were doing. Sorry,
well, they love it when we RP. They really enjoy it, because they say that us two do well as RPing together, and I've had that a lot. I've had a lot of compliments on that. Yeah. But because your story is so complicated, the secrets that because that affects heavily on Rhea's gameplay, and then everything else that goes on, it's kind of a situation of, I have to sacrifice decent RP with you for the sake of keeping a storyline going. So
well, that's why I like going to, because I know RealGenius, I know you're streaming a lot, so that's the way, Nick, you have the one side of it. I know when I want to drop something, go talk to RealGenius, because well, he's going to be online, because you're online a lot, and you're going to go with it. Everything thrown at you so far, you run with it. And I love that too. So I love. And I see everyone who goes to you sees it, because they know. You said, some people don't like when you're streaming because they worry about a little bit of meta.
Right.
We're seeing a little bit about it because we saw the death of Subutai on stream. There is a highlight of it, but you said yourself today you don't want to go watch it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
But there are already people like, I'm waiting for the person to be like, I was in the woods and I saw it. Like, maybe not. But.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that I've been learning about. It was like the discipline to your character, versus like the other day when Alec is out there 1-on-4 against these the bandits or whatever they were, and I got Naz in my chat going, dude, go out there, it's great content. I was like, but Roland wouldn't do that. Roland's scared. Roland's gonna stay behind a wall. But you do have that where you're like, yeah, I should really go out there. Everyone's watching me sit there behind a wall. That's not good content, but it's what the character would do,
I think the 90% of not having a character that's kind of corrupted by the streams is being loyal to it. So if you know full well that character wouldn't go outside, don't go outside.
Right.
Because the moment you start sort of playing to the stream is the moment that you start losing like the good parts about your character, the intimate parts about the character.
Right.
I don't disagree. Play the character as you would. Be true to what you do with it, but like sometimes like that phrase, my character wouldn't do that. We're doing this to have fun. Would you have fun going out and talking with those people, as for example? Probably. So like sometimes do it. Bend it a little bit. But there's no right or wrong there. That's just where I come from on it. Yeah.
This is from the guy who doesn't stream and been promised her for 3 weeks.
Get on it.
I'm not. Well, see, the streaming does throw a wrench in it a little bit, right? Because you do have people who want to see you create something. You want to create content. I'm just coming from the RP perspective, like saying like, would my character go? My character doesn't talk a lot right now, but it's not going to be fun for the other person if I'm just standing there not talking. So maybe I should have a conversation with the other person I'm playing with, kind of thing. So that's the thing. Like my character wouldn't talk so much, but then that person's just sitting there staring at me, and I'm staring at them. Like, okay, let's just go play other games then at that point. So that's kind of thing I mean. Those people outside the gate, let's go talk to them. Or keep banging away at the blacksmith like I do.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, okay, all right, blacksmith.
Yeah, I don't have a personality for that character, so forget about that. But yeah, that's just where I'm coming from on that thing. Streaming is tough, and I applaud you guys for being able to do that and role play and create content for the people watching, because that's a very difficult thing to do that I don't feel I'm capable of, and you guys crush it every time you do it.
Suck up.
Or just genuinely nice. Just trying to be nice here. I'm going to kill your character in game tonight. How's that?
Roland will be hiding behind the wall.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Real Genius has already admitted to listening to our conversations behind the wall, Buckle.
Yes.
So you know.
I love that.
It's
I
fine.
love that.
We've already been.
I actually was going to ask about that in a little while. So we do concern ourselves a little bit about meta. And I've said before on the show and elsewhere in conversations, people are going to meta. If it happens, just roll with it. You know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
People found out information why. But I was doing it on Tuesday night, hanging outside the walls of Southreach in character, overhearing what was going on inside. And it's hard to prove. So you were there the other night listening in on the conversation between myself, Nikki, and Nazgels. Was that a planned thing, or were you on your way to do something and you're like, oh, I can hear them. I'm not going to reveal myself because I can hear certain things?
Sorry, I was typing.
Cool.
On that one part, no. Like if I'm leaving, if Roland is leaving and then there's a conversation going on that he knows is going to be juicy, he stops and then he goes back and then he's like, okay, I think they think I left, like the one with you all three, or I've even done it when it was just you two and it was just Kasim and Rhea, and then in that particular time, and then I had people walking up to me and talking to me, and I'm almost like, obviously they can't see me. I'm doing this to the camera, going like, and I can't say it over the mic because then you guys are going to hear me.
Mm-hmm.
But we actually had one 2 days ago in Schleswig where Oswin went to Subutai and addressed some concerns about Roland's little love interest, and it may be distracting him. So, like, I walked in. I didn't know what was going on. I walked in and said, and they were having a conversation. And I'm like, oh, did I walk in on something? And they're like, yes. Like, can we have this moment? I said, okay, yeah, I'll go. I'm walking away now. And then, of course, I stopped right as soon as I got past the gate, and then, listened to their whole conversation about me, and then, well, we should get back at the keep. Okay, I'm walking again, quick. Hopefully they don't see me. But yes, Roland, he loves the information. He doesn't try to spy on people, but if
Opportunity
right,
Yeah.
if it just happens, he's gonna stand and listen. Like everyone goes away, it's like, no, this is good stuff. Just
Yeah, in a world where there's no currency and we have to kind of like fake it with gold and flux, information definitely becomes the coin of the realm.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it generally it always is, but like when you can have that juicy bit of information and say, proudly, oh, I heard this in game. They didn't know I was there, that kind of thing. And sometimes the flip of it is there where it's like, this conversation can be overheard because we're standing in a courtyard, we're standing in the forest. What can we say that's false? And then see how far that propagates to the room.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen a lot of that yet, but I would be very surprised if Isolu's not doing that with Zacharias, because that's the kind of character and player he seems to be. So, and Windrush and JZ definitely making shit up all the time. Yeah.
I think the best thing to have is Castle is walls, like the size of Crucible, is that when you leave Crucible, a lot of people still RP as they walk away. And because we had such a long walk to the ramp from Crucible, is that you could just follow them and listen to the whole conversation as they walked away, and you're like, I know everything you're talking about.
Yeah, awesome.
It was really cool because that whole when I was listening in on Oswin and Subutai, it led to then a whole hour's worth of RP between Roland getting really mad at Oswin and then challenging him to a duel, just a practice duel, where he then got his ass beat, and then it led to, like I said, a whole hour's worth of really, really good RP. So.
No, it's awesome. I think it's
Sorry, I'm reading J-Rod's comment in chat. That's actually quite a funny one. He plays a really small character in Glitter Gulch that is quite. I'm mentioning it now because if I don't, he'll shout at me. He plays a character up in the mountain that has a pile of gold. And the other night I was riding up to see him, and I got halfway there to see a lot of people on Glitter Gulch with him, and I was like, this is not normal. This isn't right. So I stayed at the back and I didn't go near. And then when I rode down, he was just like, yeah, I've just been bandited. I was like, really? He was like, and you watched from the mountain. I was like, oh, sorry. So yeah, the smaller characters also get a lot of action as well. A lot of the smaller settlements. Bandits attacking anyone.
Yep.
Nice. They're on to do.
Bandits are great, and even when they're set up as big guys, like the Seven Hells, or when people take the opportunity, like some folks did last weekend, which a lot of us were involved in going to root them out kind of thing, whether or not they were bandits, they become a kind of glue to the server where we have all something to agree on. And so now we're in a situation where Subutai was initially the person who provoked them, or they provoked him, and now he's dead. And now you have people who care about the death of him, where before it was like, he's just that weird guy who lives in Slevzig. Now he's like, he's our dead ally. Where did that come from? Was it these bandits? That kind of thing. And they create situations that even if those bandit characters themselves are disposable, they do make for some great RP. They get other people working together. And J-Rod should get off the Glitter Gulch sometimes. Stop just coming to steal our cows.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting people around.
Yeah. Some of the characters that are coming out, a lot of them they start off as pretty standard characters, and then suddenly do a complete 380 on you, and they're completely nutter. And you're like, where did this come from? This is not what I expected. And you never know what a character's going to say. You always anticipate in your head, I'll say this, and hopefully they'll say this back to me. And they never do. They're completely, It's always completely spontaneous, and it's always completely unexpected. And sometimes it can literally flip your whole idea of what you're doing. It's ridiculous. It really impacts the story as well as how it's the spontaneity of it, yeah.
Buzzard had a great question in regards to what we're talking about. And it's, where do we draw the line on listening in on people? Two people in a house, he says, shouldn't be audible, but they are. And I will amend that briefly and say, there are places you can stand outside of my house and still hear people talking clearly. It would be a little bit muffled, but you could hear what they're talking about. So taking into account that VoIP is wonky, you can still hear people as if there's no muffling from 30 feet away. Do you guys play with that at all? I don't. I just push myself up against the wall and hope no one sees me. But
right.
Roland seems to be skilled at this.
Yeah. Just remember, every time you think I'm walking away.
I'm going to start watching you leave Crucible to check that you actually leave now.
Right.
Watching you to the end of the ramp, I'm like, yeah, you go now. See, this is why we use our Castle Keep. After learning about Roland listening to us, after having that, we've moved everything to the 9th floor of our Castle Keep. So we will have to hear you running up the stairs to hear us.
Okay. So, I guess the point would be then, since we know we can hear the voices, do we adjust our positioning in game so that we're standing close to a window or close to a door, so there's a higher chance that we can be discovered, as opposed to standing way off behind a hill of dirt, still being able to hear the whole thing?
I always make sure that I'm within, I could be caught. Anytime I'm listening, I'm well within, I'm just around the corner. I'm not pushing that boundary thing, because, to me that's just,
sure,
not very real.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it, and now I know I'm going to adjust what I've done now, because I never thought about it. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can hear them because they're outside or whatever, but sure, there's 10 feet of wall between me and them. What do I do now? Okay, so I'll probably be more cognizant of that at least. So it's a good question.
Use that. I never listen in, unless I'm around the corner of the only time I ever listen in is Buckle's character talking to the Pope. Yeah, or when I'm actually stuck there, then obviously you can't miss it. Or when Buckle's character's talking to the Pope, they stand in front of our gate, so I always hide around the side by our kitchen. and you can hear everything because obviously I'm around the corner, but I'm not clever enough to actually think about going up to a side of a house and pressing my ear up against it. That's not crossed my mind yet.
I think it's a tough one. I mean, think about the quality of the houses back in those days. You're probably talking a single layer of wood with single planes of glass. The chances are you could be stood, 5-10 feet away through 2 or 3 of those walls and still hear something.
Yeah, depending on the conversation, sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess for me, I would probably just I don't know. I guess sort of judge it if they're maybe standing inside a castle keep behind a door they've shut. I would probably just go, okay, I can't hear that. There's 3 foot of solid stone between me and them. That's going to be fairly soundproof.
Yeah.
I agree with what Trey just said. In our keep, we sort of assume people are close and listening. That's why I always make people go up to the top of our keep, because that's what I assume. I assume that if you are outside, there is an element that anyone can hear you. So, but if you don't want to be heard, put it in a place you know you cannot be heard. And that's how I think of it.
And he says, or just talk on TS.
See, personally, I'm against that.
I mean, some of it's going to happen, right? Especially if we're playing with a group of people a lot. Like, so the people, whatever, we build a town all together. We're on TS all the time, laughing and goof around, stuff like that. But yeah, Pax made a comment a couple weeks ago, and it was along those lines, like, talk more in-game. And for me, there was an embarrassment component to it. Like, I'm in TS with these guys. Why don't I just talk to them there? But say yes, have fun, go do it, and just do it. Whatever, I'm going to do it. And get out there and talk with the people in-game. And so when you're doing that, you inherently have to understand that people are going to be able to hear you. But then, like I said earlier, you may want them to hear you because it may be something different or wrong or misleading. So, yeah, if you're in TS, like if it's super important in private, put yourselves in some place weird where no one can see you and talk in TS if you want to, just to make it clear. Or if you got a goofy character like Clammy, you can't understand. But yeah, other than that, it's say those important things in game and surprise yourself and each other with what your RP there.
Yes, yeah, I've been on the receiving end of people talking in TeamSpeak, and it can get very awkward. Because I was just staring at 2 people that were pretty much beating the crap out of each other, but weren't saying anything in game. And I had no idea whether it was sparring or a real fight. And it was just, it got very awkward. And so I even challenging them and just saying, is this all hunky dory?
Yeah.
2 people beating the crap out of each other, and I just got a grunt, and then they carried on. Okay, so if I go and grab my sword and run it through both of you, is that cool?
I think it works like if you're like for Crucible, it's physically such a big thing and we're always doing something really tedious like tanning tubs and things like that, then we'll be in TS. But the moment that someone arrives, the person who's talking to that person, we mute up immediately. Excuse me. We mute up immediately. Yeah. And really? See, we were all in the TS together when we're playing Life is Feudal, but if someone comes to the door, immediately the person who meets them mutes up, and then if they want to talk to anybody in their keep, they've got to go find them and do it legit and RP it out. But when there's no one in the keep, it's just we all talk in TS.
Yeah, I think like we'll do a time saver, like, are you actually in here, so I don't have to like run through every single room and house to find you, kind of thing. And then then you run around, that kind of thing. And I think a lot of people do that. Like there's no way that like South Reach or Crescent Reach were built without TeamSpeak. I mean, they could have been, but to go up that quickly and cleanly, I think that kind of out of character coordination makes sense. But
fair enough.
But that's just opinion. There's no right or wrong. Whatever way you like to do it.
No, exactly. And I can see, if you're literally just transporting 4,000 blocks of granite from the mountain
8,000.
8,000.
For the castle keep alone.
For the castle keep alone. Then 400 per castle wall.
Yeah.
Very boring and.
Yeah.
I suspect.
Well, we did terraform a mountain as well, so it wasn't. We did quite. It was
Yeah, like Crescent Reach was built without TS. I'm impressed. Very impressed.
That I'm really impressed with that.
Mostly because 3 of them refused to go in TeamSpeak, so there was only 2 of them left.
There's that. And now that we have a working VoIP workaround in game, it works much better. But yeah, once we got get in the habit of doing it on season 1 where we don't know how to fix VoIP and it's just every conversation is "Can you hear me?" I mean, not that it's much different now that every conversation starts with looking at the ground and then backing up, or someone say, "All right, clean the shit out of your ears." Like, okay, why don't we just ignore it, do the thing? But it's impressive if it went up without TeamSpeak. Really, really impressive. Don't feed Fecal. Don't try.
Just stop. Fecal is our minor. He's what I'm going to throw out there. Fecal is our resident minor. He knows very well who I am.
Brilliant. Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything about that. I figured Wizard would clock on eventually.
It was fun to watch.
Good stuff.
Right, so another thing I want to throw at you guys was the nature of ego and emotions when we're role playing, and I think you two are good to throw this against. Is that you've both been involved in some pretty intense and dramatic storylines right from day one. Like, you hit the ground running, and it was like, "Hi, here's the land. Here's some people murdering us. What do you do?" And this is something I fall prey to a lot, where I can get wrapped up in feeling the things my character is feeling, or maybe I'm having a shitty day and it's going to come out of my character and he shouldn't be having a shitty day, kind of thing. What do you do to keep those emotions in check? I mean, like, you're running Sigurd down with a horse the other day, and you say some really angry words at him, but you're laughing on stream about it.
Right.
So that's good.
Right.
You clearly have that divide between those two things. What do you do to keep those things separate?
The only thing for me is just remember Roland's motivations. He has 2 really motivations that he's concerned with survival and love. Those are the only 2 things that drive him. I mean, he has the thing, obviously, the revenge thing, but will he? Is it towards something he would do to survive? That's just what I think about.
Fair enough.
And
you ever go ahead, sorry.
No, go on. I'll carry on.
Nope.
No,
My follow-up will apply to you both.
Okay.
For me, I have to remember that, like, Rhea's I struggle playing Rhea. Anybody in TS knows I do, because she's very opposite of me as a person. Whereas Rhea will sit there and take someone calling her, speaking down to her, and being quite sometimes quite cruel to the things that they say to her. Nikki wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd be very much in your face. You've seen with Buckle when he throws stuff at me. I would very much be in your face and throw something back. But Rhea can't, so I've got to, like, a lot of the times I get in such horrible, stressful situations where the real Nikki wants to come out and I can't. I physically have to remember that this isn't how Rhea is. And it's literally a situation of Musi, once I've got away from the IP, is just going in on a massive rant in TS. And that is the only way that, like, I deal with it, because then it's off out of my system and they'll be like, "Oh my god, he just called me a bitch," and I'm like, and I'm so angry and I can't say anything. I've just got to stand there and go, "Yes, sir," and it's and I do it in TS, and I do it all the time. And anyone in Crucible will tell you that when I come out of RP, I get stressed out because I've got to physically stop myself from letting my own emotions get involved, and it's hard. I struggle, but I find it a challenge. Which, what's the point in playing if I'm not enjoying the challenge?
Good points.
So Trey, you got a good point there. We're all grown-up people, and we should be able to keep real life and RP separate. And I can tell you from a long, long time, it's very difficult for people to do that, no matter how much of a grown-up adult they are to do it. And I'll tell you, this is something that I can struggle with as well, especially, personally playing a very kind of angry, simmering character that wants to, that will murder given the provocation. So bring it up because both of you have been impacted by aggressive characters.
Oh my god!
Indeed. Oh my god.
Sorry.
My dog barks all the time. It's funny. So it's instinctually people encountering with that are going to have fight or flight. Are they going to fight back or are they going to back down? And it seems that Roland initially started with the flight and now is getting back into the fight. Like, I can't be pushed back anymore.
Right.
I got to go after him. And now we started seeing some of that from Rhea on Tuesday, and you could see people talking about it. It's like, ooh, she's coming into her own. She was that, yes, sir. And now she's like, no, you're on my land. You're going to bargain with me. So what's the growth there for that? I mean, you're keeping... What kind of emotion are you investing in that so that you're becoming stronger characters, I guess? Are you... Roland, keeps his, what is it? Love and revenge, right? So where do you see that going with that? Are both of those goals going to be able to be accomplished?
I don't know. But no, that's the coolest thing about this, that when your characters live this long, to have this growth, which has been amazing. So I don't know. I mean, as he's getting stronger and he's getting more comfortable in fighting, he's then more willing to speak up and yell at Alec and and challenge him a little bit more. So are all these things that he wants going to happen, or can they happen? I don't know. He's going to have to make choices. Is that whole relationship issue going to work out? It's not looking too good right now. So maybe he needs to focus elsewhere. I don't know. So I take everything as it comes and try to live in the moment. And I guess because like Nikki said earlier, so, you think. I'm going to have this conversation, I'm going to say this, and then they're going to say this back, and then I'm going to say this, and it never happens that way. They always are like, oh, shit, I didn't plan for that.
Yeah.
Right, which is why I don't try not to do that anymore, because I do that in real life. When I have a conversation in real life, I know how it's all going to play out before I have this conversation. And you can't do that here, because they're always throwing you something great, which is awesome, and it just keeps you on your toes. And so I don't have any answers. We'll see what happens.
I think for the growth of Rhea, it had to happen, because if anybody met Rhea at the beginning, because obviously the only original characters that really knew Rhea that are still alive is Roland and and Gudbrand were the only two characters that knew the original Rhea, and the original Rhea literally stood next to Buckle's character and didn't speak, just stood there. And if you met Rhea, she would call you sir. She was lovely. The first time she met Gun Grey, she referred to all she said to him was, yes sir, thank you sir. Like, things like that. She was very in a place, very much new. And when she became the leader of Crucible and people started coming to her with issues, she started having to get a bit of a backbone, or she was just going to get walked all over. And now she's getting to the point where she's having to make big decisions that can impact lives and things like that. She's had to grow to a situation where she has a backbone. And it's been a complicated growth, because the one thing that kind of stood out for me was the fact that Rhea stopped calling people sir. And this is all the way back from season 1, was that I had a really big thing with calling everyone sir, no matter who they were, if they liked it, if I didn't, if I called them sir. And someone turned around to me in this season and said, every time you call someone sir, you're putting them on a higher level than you. And as the leader, you should not do that at all. And I was like, well, I just thought it was respect. But they were like, no, call them by their name. And that was kind of like the first sort of real big step up that I had to do as a character, because now she refers to everyone by their name. And that's, I don't know if that's a power thing, but she kind of doesn't call anyone sir anymore, which, I don't know. Like, for me, that feels awkward because it's respect, but to other people, apparently that shows them powerful.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with the reasoning.
I
do, in that it puts them above you on a power level. I do think it's been an interesting development for your character. It's definitely taken, you've definitely taken that step up to the leadership.
Yeah.
And I think it's worked. So
for now.
Whether it doesn't matter whether you agree with the reasoning, I suppose. The fact that you took that step worked. Yeah. And it was
a lot of people and other characters saying to Rhea, you've got to wake up and smell the coffee really if you want to be a leader, because at the moment you're seeing everything through rose tinted glasses. And she did for a long time. Everyone was innocent. Everyone was, even Grim Grey, she was like, everyone had a reason for killing, and it was always always looking for an excuse, and she's really had to kind of step up to the plate and go, actually, no, people kill just to kill. And that, I think, was a really big step for Rhea's character.
Nice.
I agree. What were you going to say, Genius?
No, I was just saying, I mean, Roland remembers when he first met Hugh, and I mean, Rhea was just that girl over there, you know. It was, and then all of a sudden, when he came back to give his condolences about Hugh, all of a sudden, you could just all of a sudden kind of see that she was already starting her kind of ascent, so to speak, and that was cool.
The weirdest thing for me was when I first became a leader, and obviously because word of mouth doesn't always spread on the server, sometimes people sleep through major things, and it was the first time that someone came to the door after Hugh had died, and they completely ignored me and went, "Where's Hugh?" And completely blacked me. Wouldn't even say hi to me. Just straight up went, "Where's Hugh?"
That's kind of what I did.
Yeah. And it was kind of like that was where it was like she was so dismissed as a character, and now she's had to grow to this situation where if she's the one who's answered the door, and you better be nice to her, or she'll just close the door and walk off.
You better not be under it, because she'll kill people.
Yeah.
But Roland's had a very similar change like that. You're now coming up, and it's, Subutai's death leaves an opening for leadership and Slevsik.
Right.
And you said there's also that the deal you were talking about with, or the offer from
Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus. And it puts a character in that same upward trajectory.
Right.
Both, sure of oneself, but also like now you're put in a position where the decisions you make can affect people's lives. And what we're saying now is player characters, right?
Right.
So, do you feel comfortable being able to make a decision that could result in characters dying? And Nikki, it's for you too. People and these characters may have hundreds of hours put into them.
I do. Well, again.
Yeah, sure. All right.
No. I mean, again, Roland's number one thing, I guess, is survival. So and he's been fighting Alec on him being rash and he thinks Alec makes stupid decisions that's going to get him all killed. So as far as keeping people alive, that is the reason why Roland will fight for power, because he's already seen Alec make 2 or 3 decisions that were like, dude, you're gonna get us killed. So that'll be his position, and he doesn't again feel like it's not about, he's not on a power trip. He's not hungry for power. He doesn't want necessarily power, but he feels that he's the only one. He's lived this long. He's lived long enough. Even though he doesn't fight or hasn't fought anyone yet, he's gotten this far. So,
maybe something to not fighting. You can't.
Right.
Significantly less chance of dying if you don't fight.
Right. If you don't take, gets all bent out of shape out of every little insult, maybe just it's okay to survive and let people call you a name every once in a while,
Very good lesson to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Very good lesson.
Yeah.
I think I've had to keep my head, I agree with you completely, is you've got to let people call you names, because there is many times when, obviously, in the last week alone, I can name about 4 instances where someone said something quite horrible to Rhea, and I've had to go, okay, and walk off and walk away. And Zacchaeus did it the other day. He straight up turned around to me when I was defending someone of my keep. He turned around and said, "Remember, you're only leader while we like you." And that, had that been me, Nikki, I'd have gone mental. But Rhea, I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to shut up now. And that's something that I always consider, killing someone off. There has to be either a pressure behind me to do it or a really big reason, because I don't like killing people. I don't like killing people off, but I understand why it has to be done. Because I just think, I know, for me now, I'm in this situation where I played Rhea so long that if she died, I wouldn't be salty at all. I'd be fine with that. I'd say she had a good run, time to settle down. But I can understand that on the other side is that people go, I've worked so hard on this character. To die would be the worst thing in the world. I'd have to start from square one. And so I kind of always weigh up when I have to do make the choice if I have to kill someone, which luckily I've only had to do it twice now, which that's pretty good to say that I've been playing quite a intense role. I've always kind of gone, well, is there another way I can punish them without having to kill them? And that's always the first thing. And if the answer is know they're going to do something else that's going to be even worse, then I always say, you can kill them, but I'm not going to be the one to do it. And I always kind of push the blame onto... In Crucible, because we are a group decision, if they go to me, we really want to kill this player, I go, it's in your hands then, and walk away, because I don't want to be the one to do it.
So there's two things I'd like to add, and a little bit of what she said. So there is that thought, at least there was at the beginning. When I'm about to hop the fence and run from the shield maidens, I'm thinking, God damn it, I put so much work into building these damn fences. Like, I don't want to leave. This sucks. But the other thing about choosing your words and all that kind of stuff, and I was talking about this on my stream earlier when we were watching the highlights, was especially everything that happened to my character was because, and I don't know if everyone knows this, but Herona, playing Lady Sif, they had an interaction with Jam, and she turned around and said something under her breath, which she did not mean Jam to hear. She did not mean him to hear it. Like, and because of that word, like she said, predictable, he got off his horse and killed him. If he did not heard her said that,
different storyline altogether.
the whole, like, right? I mean, it's crazy how,
It's always one word. It's always that one thing that kind of doesn't fit well, and you go, expand, and then because they've dug themselves the hole, they're desperately trying to get out of it, and you're like, you're actually making this worse for yourself. If you'd have just been quiet about 2 minutes ago when you said that word, you'd probably be allowed to live now, but because you've done this, and you've carried on digging, we're going to kill you.
And how many characters' lives changed because that one little word was uttered? Yeah. It's just crazy to think about.
That's a very, very good point.
Yeah, some people just don't know when to shut the hell up.
Yeah. Learning when not to speak has been like one of the biggest things that you have to learn that server, because sometimes it's just not needed. It's one of those situations where you go, is this going to do anything but cause harm? And if the answer is yes, then don't do it. Just don't. Just go, no. Okay, back off.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing Buckle's character.
Great, you derailed my thought. Oh, that's a common theme that keeps coming back up too, is that death is a final answer to things. I mean, it's such as true for real life, obviously, but it's how many more interactions can we make? How much cool content can we make if we don't automatically jump to killing someone? And that's not to say that killing someone inherently is wrong in the game. If you're playing a character that's going to do that, or playing a character that's baiting it and is going to be killed, roll with it. Just go with it. And it's not that hard to level up a new character. And it's, I keep saying that sometimes you're hit by a bus and your story's all done. But yeah, it's... I like to build up to it, and it seems like you guys are very similar. Build up to that moment where if there is a death, let it be a good one. Let it be just that scene in Gladiator, where he finally gets to win and then falls down dead himself. Let it be that. And that's not to say that, just a highway bandit just can't, come by and kill you. You kill him, something like that. But
there's only been one instance where it's kind of been a slow burning. Like, there's only one death that I've actually been involved with that's completely not in-game. No one saw it. No one heard of it. It's known because of chats, but it's not known in the game at all, and it's only one death. And that was a sort of situation of, instead of it being like, unfortunately, it wasn't this is a gladiator moment, this is where you can have your moment. This was if we don't kill them off now, how much trouble will they cause for us now or later on? And that was kind of like the pros, what we had to weigh up. And the answer was, is it worth the risk of leaving this character alive when they could be potentially the reason everything's going wrong? And we answered no, and the character died. And that's the only time we've done that, and that's the only time I've kind of stood there and gone, I'm really sorry you didn't get your gladiator moment because you deserved it. But in that case, it was a case of, do I put 20 people in my keep in trouble to keep one person alive, or do I kill one person off and keep the rest of the keep alive? And that's the only time I've ever sort of gone, yeah, you need to die.
Well, then you find out of character that guy actually wasn't doing anything wrong. It was a big misunderstanding, and you're like
such an ass. The day I found that out, I was in
place, wrong time.
Yeah, the day I found that out, I was stood down and went, crap. I was like, I'm done.
But luckily, he is one of those players, the guy who died, that was really just cool with it, and he's rolled some great characters, and he understands it. I think we can say it was one of Minu's characters, and I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding about Minu, and but when you get to know him, he's like, damn, that guy is RPing his ass off all the time.
Yeah.
And he's great. He's just great. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. We actually had a question from the Wayward Wizard that said, do you prefer to play a character that is similar to you or a person who is nothing like you? Throw it out to the board first.
For me, I've up till now I was doing a lot of like Arma Life mods and stuff for RP, and getting nervous again, being here and just assuming I'm just gonna be a background character, just worker type. I was like, I'll just be myself. I'll be as close to myself as possible, because it's easier, and I'm just getting into it. I'm just easing into this. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I did this time. I think I'll definitely have more fun with the next character whenever that happens. Hopefully not till season 3. But I mean, I'd have fun doing both. But it's easier playing yourself or something close to yourself.
Sure.
I like to play people completely opposite to me because I like the freedom of turning off the game and being able to just carry on and it not affect. And I feel that if you keep them to, I get that like people go, oh yeah, but if you do it like you get all the best emotions. My player gets my emotions because I'm emotionally invested in that character anyway. It's just I don't want it to be me. I'd rather have something that I could walk away from and be separate from and feel that when I'm playing that character, I am playing the character. And I find it more harder to play not me because you have to make choices that you wouldn't necessarily make if it was just straight up you. And that sometimes leads for the better RP, in my opinion. And so, no, I don't play it. Characters might have similarities to me, like little bits, but no, they're generally nothing like me.
Yeah, Rhea's emotions have been amazing. So, I mean...
I hate Rhea. Everyone knows this. I hate that. Anybody who talks to me, like, Buckle knows this because he's unfortunately one of the... And anybody in the Crucible TS knows this. I hate Rhea because she's definitely not me. And that winds me up. And they all know this because, as I've said before, some of the responses I have to give are not the ones that I would give as a person. And so I love playing her because she's, again, a biggest challenge, but I hate her. I hate her.
It's we talked a couple weeks about it, and I like to go to a place where it's hard for me to go, personally. So playing a character that doesn't talk a lot because I'm a person who just loves to hear the sound of my own voice. But both of you have said, it's. Okay, thanks.
I'm
both
sick of it.
I'm gonna. You're dead. You both have said the stream that it's knowing when to speak and when not to speak is a quality to learn. So, that's the thing for me. It's like, oh, I have to learn that because it's hard. And Nikki, you were saying the struggle, if you're enjoying the struggle, go someplace to do it. But all of the characters are always going to be a part of ourselves. So I think maybe it was Wayward Wizard who said in chat that he takes bits and pieces of himself and dials some of them up to 10, things like that. So, something we were talking about on the stream a couple weeks ago, and it's that thing you find the aspects of yourself that you want to pull into the character. Like I like these things about me, and I also hate these things about me. What can I do with that? What kind of character can I make? And then hopefully you make something that's memorable. Even if people hate it, even if people love it, you make something memorable, and it's parts of yourself. So it's hard to get separate from that. Hard to just close down the game. But even when I close down the game, I'm like driving to work thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna message this guy and see if he's in on this story because I really want to do that. Like.
It was because I was playing such a because like you said, elements do come in. There is elements of Rhea that I can stay there and go, yes, that is me. But I still try to make myself connected because I'm one of these people that dwells on things and I think about them and then I overthink them. So it was one of those where I have to kind of go, no, that's the end of it. Close the game. I might think, oh yeah, on the way to unit, oh yeah, I'll message this person and see if they want to do this with me tonight, like on RP. But it's one of these where I have to go, no, that's enough now, back away. Because it would, some of the things that wind me up, like you've seen it in TS, I have to physically give myself time out to calm down from situations in RP that I've been in. And I do when I have to do it.
Yeah, that's what earlier I was talking about, getting the emotion, separating your own emotion and ego from the character, because I do love those moments where the RP is such that like, that was pretty good. I'm going to walk away for 10 minutes, just be like, I got to get that out of me
Yeah.
because it was like, really happy and I wasn't feeling that. I'm really mad and I wasn't feeling that. What can I do with that? And like, okay, all right, that's good. I'm gonna go play something mindless or just sit in a dark room for a little while.
I think that especially playing with your character, Buckle, because I really don't get it. Like, we know our character, I'm in character. I don't get your character. I always assume the worst of your character, and it works. And it's always a situation where we finish our peeing, or me and the poet finish our peeing, and I always have to kind of just walk away, mute TeamSpeak, take a deep breath, and then carry on because because we know each other anyway out of character. We know what will cause the most damage in the game. So we got horrible on each other sometimes. I walk away and I'm like, I was such a bitch. and I'm like, but he knows that's RP, and it's always this. I walk away, take a deep breath, unmute TeamSpeak, carry on.
We had an incident, with everything that went down in Schleswig the other day, when we had that, it was literally 7.5 hours of straight story. We didn't even have a chance to, and me and Os, Wayward Wizard, and Alec were kind of texting each other, and chatting for like, holy shit, like, we got to decompress, that was so amazing, but yeah, sometimes you have to just walk a step back and like what just happened? Like,
I was gonna ask you about that. So the night that you guys ousted Alec, that had to be pretty intense. And you guys know each other and stuff, and you tend to stay off TeamSpeak. It's like, so for the really big stuff, I like to clue people in a little bit to make sure that the player is interested in where I'm gonna go. So that's like, when I tweeted out and I got you involved with what I'm doing and stuff like that. Like, I want people who are involved with what I'm doing, in addition to people I catch up doing, but at least now I have people confident and comfortable with what I'm doing. So when you guys ousted Alec, like, do you check in with him and say, hey man, we cool with this, or like just roll with it?
We actually, none of us actually know each other. We
well, you say you text each other, as I mean.
Well, we just in Steam chat. When we don't even do that very much. It was just that like after to decompress type of a thing. But none of that was planned. It was all we just looked at each other and said, he's got to go. things had been building up, and we had me and Os, Roland and Osman had been having those discussions already. Like I said, he's been reckless, and Sabutai would be like, yeah, he's being reckless, and there were times they were supposed to be co-leaders too. And then there was always times where I would see him refer to I'm in charge, and he'd be telling other keeps I'm in charge, and kind of, not talk badly of Sabutai, but be like, like talk down of him. So there were a lot of things that was escalating for a long time, and it just came to a head. But yeah, we didn't plan any of that.
Well, sure. I didn't think you guys had planned it.
Well,
it's just that I sometimes worry because of the aforementioned separating the real life from the RP. Making sure we have respect for the player. And something like that. You didn't want to leave the walls and keep and stuff you built for the shield mains. You spent a lot of time in that. But RP dictated you had to run.
Right.
And so you have to go, like, even now it's still on the server, you ride past it and go, oh,
yep.
I built that. Even with all the flaws of our very first build. Yeah, it's like, a thing where you're in your own house, you're like, man, this is weird, but none of the guests notice it. You're like, even with all those flaws, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's like, no one stopped to ask.
Actually, that neither me or Roland were involved in placing the location of the walls, so we didn't leave the giant hole in the fence.
Right.
We just built it to their specifications.
Right.
Yes, I was watching those streams. I watched you guys. Didn't know it was Real Genius at the time, but yeah, watching you guys like, okay, why are the coops on the outside of the walls? That kind of stuff. So yeah, it's no one stopped to ask you, hey, are you cool if we slaughter everyone in your keep? It was just man up because it's coming down on you, that kind of thing. Personally, I might have been annoyed if I got ousted from my town, I'd be like, that's really obnoxious.
Wait, you're welcome in our town?
Damn.
Let's have it all out right now. No. So now you've been to a bunch of different places. Like, it's that respect for the player. Are you cool with the story going on, or is there an implied on the server story's gonna hit you? Just roll with it, no matter what you do. And I tend to think it's the latter, and then just tell myself, just You got to visit it. It's so cute. Sort of switch to that, where you kick someone out from leadership of their own guild, and you don't have that relationship with them. Do you worry about that at all? Does that concern you?
You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yelling at
Happens
kids.
to all of us. We do it all the time.
Yeah. All right, what was the question?
Do you ever worry about since it's happened to you? Do you believe
Yeah.
there's an implied thing on the server that story's going to roll over you, and you just got to go with it? And if that means losing your home, which has happened to you,
right.
Or do you make decisions based on the fact that this guy may have put hundreds of hours into this base, things like that?
I think the understanding of the server, at least, it's a hardcore RP. It's whatever happens, you have to roll with. The only thing that I would consciously think of is death. Like and again, I can't kill anybody anyway, so I guess I'll never really have to deal with that, because I'm the worst PvP person ever. But that is the only thing that would be like, if I'm going to kill somebody or put my sword on somebody, like, I better have a damn good reason to start swinging, because that for the respect for the other players.
I get you.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. Probably there's no right or wrong answer.
Right.
You probably should try to respect the player and respect their story. But sometimes
If you're playing a bandit, you're going to kill everyone out.
You just got to go
You're
with
just
where
going
the
to
RP
you're just going to
takes
do
you.
it. Yeah.
I mean, for me, if I was in
Or
a
just
situation
use,
like
if you're going to be a bandit, just use sledgehammers.
that,
Don't kill Sebutai.
Oh yeah. So I mean, so for me, what I would probably do is, if I felt I had to kill somebody for an RP reason, even though I know, they've got X number of storylines on the go, they've got all this, potentially they've still got hundreds of hours worth of RP, but I felt that maybe, for my storyline to continue, or for another storyline to continue, this person had to die. I think what I would probably do is go with it, and then probably speak to the person afterwards. Just just sort of give them that respect and say that I'm really sorry about your character and his storylines. This is why I did what I did.
Except when we kill Grim, we're not apologizing for that. We're just going to go in his chat and be like,
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Me and Buckle mods, we're all mods. We'll make sure we're about everyone.
I don't know what you're going to do when you end up actually killing Grim. You're all just going to get to the end of the storyline and be like, okay, guys, what's next?
Yeah, what are we going to do now?
Who's next on the hit list?
I mean, if that actually happens, there's so many things in play. And, I mean, here's what I'm struggling with right now with the storyline. See what you guys feel about it. It's just, in particular, the person you're building a story with may end up not playing anymore. So, it's hard for me for a particular character. What do I do with this character? Do I just disappear? Do I try to blend it into something else? I guess it would depend on the character. So, if you do end up in that situation, where do you see you guys going? Like, if we can't get revenge for what we're currently doing, or we can't complete that relationship because the person on the other side, she chooses or he chooses to stop playing or something like that. Do you adapt the storyline, or do you find another character or find another purpose for the character?
I mean, it's been in Schleswig anyway. We found plenty to. I mean, we didn't know that Grim was coming back. We hoped he was coming back.
Right.
So Roland had to find a whole nother what am I gonna do? But I just, like I said, the Schleswig family drama, man. It's kept everything. It's kept things going. So.
Nikki, you certainly got a lot of storyline going too. So
Right.
yeah, I guess you both have really set up storylines that revolve very well around these characters, that they were built upon a certain premise. It's just that premise smacked you in the face, and then kind of left.
Right. And now he came back, and now just added a whole bunch of more.
Yeah, which is great. I hope it keeps going. I hope it gets interested back.
Right.
But
I think I'm going to play Rhea out until someone murders her or she dies to a bear.
Which
Yeah.
can I ask a question? I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe if we want to if all of us want to share this. We were having this discussion in chat a few days ago. But are we willing to admit how many times our characters have died? Actually, not RP deaths, but I think everyone's at least died once or twice, non-RP wise. Yay, nay?
Non-RP rise. If you're counting glitch deaths, I'm on about 9.
Right.
Because the thing with building Crucible is that you are shouting at one another in TS. You're going to gate. I've gated Buckle's horse, so I've done that. So I was gated twice in like the first 2 weeks alone.
Nice.
I've died to a bear. I'm not gonna lie. I've died 3 times to a bear. One time it was on the middle of the tournament ground, and it was luckily it was the day before the tournament ground opened, and it was right in the middle of the tournament ground, and I was like, this has got to despawn before tomorrow, or everyone is going to ride up and see my body there. And luckily it despawned. I don't know what happened. It was
nice.
gone, but,
Nice.
yeah. If I'm counting just like silly deaths and bits where I've got stuck and things like that, I'm around 9 or 10.
Okay. I only died once, and that was because of Bear's moon train on the maidens when the first day is on the server. All you do is bring a bear, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's 1 or 2 of them, but that was crazy. I'm sitting here carrying a big log on my back, and I have no idea what's going on. And all of a sudden, this guy with a horse comes running with a bear trailing him, and the bear kills everyone. And that was my 3rd or 4th day on the server. Like, what is going on?
Kasim hasn't died at all. No glitch deaths or anything. But I have another character that I get stuck in things.
I shot you.
Kills me in the tournament ground. It's like
I forgot that.
Oh, yeah.
Shot you the other way.
Yeah. Like, please don't hit me again. I will die. Bam. Okay. I need to take 10 minutes out of room or I'll murder her.
I've heard
like
training room deaths.
This was I'd like blocked him in. I'd done horrible things. I put like a chair in front of the way he was trying to walk, and I'd done horrible things to him, and I'd really wound him up, and then just killed him.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
But yeah, I get stuck
Nice.
behind kilns because I like to jump on stuff. You know, I gotta wait for this thing to be done, so I'm gonna climb on things, and of course, I fall down between bloomeries
And we have carts everywhere, so we get stuck between carts all the time. And someone screaming on DS going, "Move the cart!" And by that point, you're dead. Too late. Just admit it, move on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, okay. Neither of my characters in any of the 2 seasons have actually died at all.
Wow, nice.
One of mine in season 1 died something like 1,000 times, getting stuck in a little hole. You know, like where the terraforming is weird, and like unstuck didn't work, disconnected didn't work, and I went and I just want my gear back, and I couldn't find it. It was like I had like 1,000 corpses in there. I'm like, fucking, I'll just make better stuff. Yeah,
I think that happened to Mrs. C. She got stuck, and I think she died 19 times or something. In the same spot.
It's the pits. It's absolutely terrible. Like, that's a lot of skill points I can't get back.
It's final right now that I don't die because I've got my leathers, both my leathers are up to 100, so I can wear the royal. So I've had to kind of behave because it's random what it takes it off of, and for it to take a point off my leathers, I'd be done. I'd just be done. I just feel like I'm finished with this game. So it's vital at the moment that the Rhea doesn't die.
That's the thing, because after you die and your skills get reduced, it takes like longer to get up those skills again.
It goes back to standard after the resurrected debuff goes away, but the resurrected debuff sits there for a while, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna sit in the house and go make a snack.
Okay.
I think also it depends. We all know alignment matters. Alignment matters a lot when you die, because the more the negative the alignment, the worse you're going to get. Like, I had -3 alignment at one point, and I lost 5 points. But now I have positive 50, and I lose 0.2 of a point of a skill now, because your alignment really. People who stand there going, "I don't care about alignment." When you glitch die, it matters so much, because it's that difference between you were 100 Grandmaster Carpenter, you're now a 95. It's such a big jump.
I can imagine.
I'd rather take off a crafting skill and then instead of a combat skill.
Mm-hmm.
I can grind back up that stuff. I don't want to get hit for another like 9 hours to get something up. Yeah.
We actually had a question earlier from Ghost Rider. I don't know if he's still around. I missed.
I think he might be.
It's to the guests, and he wanted to know what you guys thought about the bandits that were in the old Ingvar place.
Well, that was an interesting situation. That we were just replaying that highlight right before this came up. It was it was kind of cool, to be honest. It was the fact that's the first time we ever had anybody where I talked about the drawing swords and the really trying to, like, we didn't know who these guys were, but the guy was talking so much crap, was like, we couldn't ignore it. We had to draw swords. And then it became this whole little mini story, and it's still going. So they all died, or we went later. And a whole bunch of us. There was 13, 14 of us, and we went and
for 3 people.
Yeah, for 3 people, it was crazy. And we killed them all except for one, for Nancy, who was hiding in the house. And
he leaped the wall.
Or he leaped the wall. So then the next day
escaped because of lawful.
Yeah. So then the next day he was hiding in the house. Alec had him trapped in the house. There were 3 of us or 4 of us there, and he was hiding in the house. So I was like, I'm bored of this. I'm just gonna get out of here. Yesterday he came back with 4 or 5 new guys, and they hopped the walls of Schleswig, and I ran and hid. That's and then it turned out that's when Alec went out and then the server restarted. So they're at our gates. We're like up in the stone walls, and that's when the server restart happens. Kind of people glitched out or whatever. We got back into it. That's when Alec goes out and confronts them 4-on-1, and it became it's still part of the story. So Nancy ended up dying. Alec killed them. But now there's still 3 or 4 more new bandits who I assume are still living there. So I think they're just going to keep coming back. But it was an interesting little twist, and it did really add, like, my heart was pounding. Like, I was at the wall. I greeted them at the wall, said, hey, and they were trying to get in. But I'm like, no, we're not going to let you in, They said they were hungry. I'm like, go kill that deer if you're hungry. If you're hunters, well, go kill it. And they ran up and jumped the wall, and they're like, what do I do? What do I do? I was totally freaking out. So it added some pretty good drama. So yeah, Ghost Rider.
Story of Reckless Rhea again, because favorite thing that seems to be happening on the server. I made friends with them. I was riding past one day, classic Rhea.
There she goes again.
So listen, so hear me out. It's not as bad as you think. So, I was riding past Ingvar Homestead. Saw there was someone outside, so I'm gonna stop to talk to them. This is Ingvar's homestead. I was there when Vicon decided to wipe out his whole keep. I've got it on stream. I had it on stream what happened when he decided to kill everyone in his camp. And so I stopped there and I met Rolf. I can't remember. Rolf. There we go. I called him Golf all the time. Rolf, and he was nice to me. There was no reason for me to dislike Rolf, but then I met Drew, which was Melly, and Nancy, which was Boone, and Melly wanted to keep me as a puppet, and Nancy wanted me to stay for their cookout, and I think that was kind of him saying he was going to kill me and cook me. I don't know what that was, but he invited me to have a barbecue with them. Luckily, I was invited to be dinner. I'm not really sure which one yet. And Rolf told me to stay on my horse, and I listened to him. I didn't get off my horse at any point, and I left, and I was quite kind of standoffish with them because I was getting the bad vibes off of them. And then when they were killed, I went back the next day when Alec was trying to wait him out. I went back to speak to Nancy and kind of said, what you doing? Is this really worth it? At this point, Alec comes, Nancy runs into his house, and I'm sat there then with Alec for about an hour, listening to how angry Alec is going, I'm going to kill him. And I'm like, yeah, not right now, because, maybe not. Let's just wait. He's not leaving the house. You might want to go home. And so I spent the next hour trying to talk Alec out of waiting around for him to come out of the house, basically. I was like, he's just going to carry on sitting here shouting crap at you. Just go home. He'll come out when he wants. And that's basically the only interactions I've had with him so far. It's not as bad as you think, there, genius. I didn't start giving them food or let him in or anything. Don't worry. She has a bit of sense.
I know it was accidental, but when they showed up when they did that night, the first night out of Slevsig, it was so perfect. Because everything they did was awesome. It was just
You were
great.
stood on the hill was your character.
It was.
And you were all fine at the bottom, and Buckle was just sighing constantly, and he was like, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, in character, he's like, it's one man, and there's 4 of them attacking him, and he's still not dead. And that was the only line from that night I remember was Kasim's character like, and these want to take on Grim Grey.
That was actually the first time Roland ever had a sword out and actually hit somebody, not in training. Because that one, whoever the girl was who pulled her sword out, I actually got a couple swings in at her, and I was all proud of myself. I was like, oh, I got to swing at somebody. You know, Roland's tough now. He actually hit somebody. And then I was actually, we didn't even talk about this a little bit, but we had that visit by the Higginbottoms, if you guys saw that at all. And Alec killed them all. And I didn't even get I couldn't even kill one of them, and that's how pathetic I am at PvP.
Well, it just takes practice.
A lot of practice.
Well, and I spent most of the time in my house getting my armor on because I was afraid to come out because I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, who are these people and why are they hitting people? What's going on? Higginbottoms.
We did a similar thing to the Higginbottoms on Drunken New Year's Eve, and there was like 9 of us, and Thaddeus wiped us all out. Just all of us. Like, hey, nice horse, give it to us. He gets off, he's like, no, I'm not doing that. We didn't even have stuff to give him. We were just being assholes. He murdered all of us. Oh, well.
Wow. That night was awesome, and that's obviously what got Alec kicked out of power, and it just one thing, you know, happenstance that they happened to come by, and it set all these events in motion for a day, and it's so it makes this world so much damn fun.
The point is that these bandits that appeared for a night that was only supposed to be a bit of like fun for the players has now become pretty much a serious part of the storyline.
Right.
People are coming to me going, "This person's died. We think it was the bandits," and I'm going, "Really?" Like, did you bring it to me? And I'm like, "You're bringing me these people and these 4 people who started off just having a laugh have now become a big part of the main storyline." Which is crazy to think that one tiny little thing as a fight outside Slesvig can start another ball rolling in a completely different direction. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see how quick that can happen.
Right.
Isn't that what John spent his Tuesday stream doing? Hunting down these bandits that nobody knew anything about.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Do you want to start pulling for more questions while we answer the last 2?
So what else we got? So I guess we should probably. Do you want to start having a talk through what's new in the latest patch?
Sure. Let's pull it
chat
up.
can come up with any questions in the meantime. Please post them up.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it before. We got the new herbal garden, which is fantastic. But do keep running around trading herbs, guys, because that's a great source of RP. Or start trading something new.
There is maybe certain herbs only growing in certain parts of the map.
They said, what are they saying here? Feel free to experiment with different types of fertilizer. There's only one fertilizer I know about, so that sounds like fun. They updated some architecture, I guess. They tweaked some things with like chickens and rabbits and things like that. But I guess the biggest changes we got in this are visible changes for all 4 seasons and updated particle effects so that they work on the GPU instead of CPUs. What does that mean is that we should actually have better performance out of the game, especially in things around fire, things like that. They've also optimized the horse collision, so apparently you're not going to like barely graze a tree and go flying 20 feet anymore, I hope.
I want to see it.
Right? Yeah, I haven't been able to play with it yet. But they also said that something about how the horses shouldn't bog down servers anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly what that means for that. I didn't dig into it yet. But
there's black horses.
Yeah, so they've added new horse color variants, which is pretty cool. So it looks like it was a pretty horse-heavy patch. They say minor weapon tweaks, but the last weapon tweaks they had, saying the one-handed was faster and the hammers were slower, I didn't really see any evidence of that.
No.
Even though that would have been a pretty good balance, because those hammers probably should be slow unless you're doing a combo, and those one-handers should be fast, but, I mean, if someone's still wearing plate and being hit by a hammer, they're probably going to lose unless they're great at parrying.
Yeah,
And can I just talk for a moment?
Combat is
Go
a bit
ahead.
unbalanced.
It is a little bit.
Buckle turning into his arm around. Go on, have it now.
No, just
before
everyone bitching
you
about
throw-
hammers.
Before you throw the laptop
Yeah.
in.
See, this is it. If you're bitching about hammers, I hate to point
We're
something out,
different armor.
but in the 11th century, full plate didn't exist. The game's version of full plate didn't exist until the 14th century.
Yes. Also, they didn't have windows with glass in them.
Yeah.
So,
I'd also
yes.
like to point out that Catholicism, if you're playing in the realm that they were saying, which is English sort of situation, Catholicism was the leading religion at that time. I have a map, and I showed it to my chat last time because someone came into my chat and was like, "You're a member of a cult? That wasn't even the name religion." I was like, "I'm done with this," and pulled up a map. I was like, "Look at that map. That's a religion map."
Which
It was
sprouted
Catholicism.
from the time of the Holy Roman Empire.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I did my research as well.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple. Oh, the biggest quality of life improvement out of this patch is auto repeat for crafting abilities. So if you're familiar with blacksmithing and you know the auto smelt where you can just click it and then you can actually get up and walk away for a few minutes, that's now been added for a lot of other professions, which is fantastic. You can do it for grabbing bark off trees. You can do it for picking branches. You can do it for building things like bark boxes, I guess. Oh, picking silk. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Making the silk filament, you can now auto do. I was doing it earlier, and it was like the happiest moment of my life. I was like, I can like watch a movie while just watching this. I can do things now. It's fantastic. Instead of clicking there for 400, I was doing the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna kill someone. And
That's why I didn't go tailoring this season, because last season I was doing that, and
I did last season as well because I took over all your jobs.
Extract filaments, and then I have to run these through the spinning wheel. This game.
In the last season, I had to spend. It must have been about 10 hours over a weekend doing nothing but gathering sticks and plant fiber to make bows.
That's awful.
And I still didn't get to level 100.
Easier with the more complex the recipe, the more skill point you get off of it too. So
in season 1, I was on my own. I didn't have any work.
I understand. I understand. Good point. And Millie's saying now horses going through gates have issues, which is that's the worst. Come on, Life is Feudal.
I
love your
have
game.
To go through backwards now.
I'll get off your
Not just
horse,
on the
hide
slope.
it, and walk through the gate like normal people. God damn it, guys. So lazy.
Because normal people have horses in their pockets.
As if like at Crucible, I got is someone at the gate and they're like, "No, get off your horse." It's like I don't get anyone opening the door for me.
Brilliant.
But yeah, here's the link to the patch notes if you haven't seen them yet. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I don't see anything about crash fixes, even though people saying, "Oh, I haven't crashed since the last patch." You're dirty liars because I crash constantly still.
I think I don't know if it depends. I mean, so after that last patch, for me, it was more stable. I still crashed,
More stuff. Yeah.
but it was more stable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I disconnect from the game while it's raining, that's a crash every single time. And every single time I put it in, the game was raining. That's why I crashed.
Wow. Yeah, I've not had that.
But yeah, so that's what we got in the new patch. It looks pretty good. Can't wait to get in and play it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and an addendum to that, it looked mostly like it. Just keep in mind, please be patient with the new admins. I can't imagine the kind of petty things they're getting, especially when a server it still has to be rebooted and repatched, and it's going to take a couple hours to get it all up and running smoothly. But just in general, Booney, Melly, Jam, Crom, please stop bugging them with little minor stuff.
Yeah.
Just if you have a rules violation, if you see it happening, take some screenshots and tweet it at them, or take a little Shadowplay VOD and throw it up on a Dropbox or something so they can get it. But just stop pestering them with little crap, man. Just play the game. That's all I got.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I will third that.
Life too.
Yeah, I mean, the game is Life is Futile. Please don't make real life futile. I mean, just, you know, if it's the worst. Having been a server admin on other games, people complaining about shit, and like 9 times out of 10, it's something in the game, and like I can't do anything about that. What I can do for you is, okay, did someone actually break some whitelist rules for you? I can go fix that. Did the game swallow up your horses? Here's some more horses. I'll give them back to you. You know, like, do you need your monument moved? You know, in which case, having had my monument moved by a GM, would I do that again? No, I would probably just rebuild it, you know, and just do it myself that way, because that's such a pain in the ass. Just let them play, you know, and then they want to play too, so stop reporting little crap. Sorry, that was my little rant. It came from
I think everybody needs to admin a server at some point so they understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to run some Rust servers, and gee, I got every petty little. God, let's play the game. Let's play the game.
Yeah, I mean, so someone said earlier, dividing real life and RP. I mean, walk a mile in a server admin shoes. Holy shit.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a little bit. I want to make sure I got that in, and just reading the patch notes there made me think about it, because something's going to go wrong. Tweet it at Life is Futile. Don't tweet it at Melly and Booty. All right. Sorry. That's all I got to say about that.
No, that's absolutely fine. It's a good statement to have. There's not been any more questions from chat. Come on, chat. You got any questions?
We've kind of been answering them as we go.
Yeah.
I'll answer why I won't marry anyone, because my character is obsessively in love with Buckle's character. If you haven't got that now, you probably won't get that. That's the answer to it. That is the reason why she follows Buckle's character around. That's the answer.
There we go.
Doesn't make sense for the fee, but quit people being creepy. What's with all the weddings?
It does make sense for the IP. It's just your storyline hasn't gone on far enough to actually make it anything, because I get about 30 seconds of roleplay with you when you appear at the keep, because you need to RP with someone else, and quickest way to do it is when I'm talking to them, and then I'm like, are you going to RP with me tonight? Nope, cool. See you tomorrow.
God, you're like, never mind. I was gonna make a joke about being my in-game wife without being it.
Wedding bells on the horizon.
There's just been a lot of weddings in game, and they're obviously, for the time period of the world, joining towns and families that way makes sense. But it's just like, can't go and murder people this Saturday because there's going to be a wedding.
that stops you. Like, that'd be like a fuel for me. If I played a bandit character, like, wedding, a lot of people, small environment, off I go.
At the wedding last weekend, there was very close to being people dead.
That's what I heard.
One with Borrigan and Han, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah,
it's just people most people behave themselves, and those people are lucky they didn't die. So
I love Poopy's question, man.
I like that question.
It's a really good question.
I like it.
I think we should answer that.
I want to answer it. I have a favourite tree. I sat them all on Crucible.
What is your favourite tree and why?
Maple, because it kind of it blossoms out, but it's higher than the houses, so when you put it next to a house, it doesn't clip into them, like the mulberries or the apples. But you can they're not like the elms or the pines, which are just straight up, which look a bit gross. So yeah, maples, decorate everything.
I'd be an oak, because they're the most obnoxious, largest, just pains in the ass trees.
I would also go with oak.
Same.
Male mentality. Big tree. I want to be an oak.
Hey, the oak is the most useful tree.
You know, I was thinking about this the other. Is that the reason? Because there are other hardwood trees, and I'm like, why aren't we planting these ones that aren't nearly as obnoxious as the oaks? Do you get more wood out of the oaks than the other ones, or?
Yeah, so they dropped a higher durability. wood.
Oh.
So you end up getting,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, as long as you let them grow to major.
Was the same.
Pine for softwood and oak for hardwood gives you the highest. If they're 100 quality, they give you the highest kind of return value.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, you can get over 1,000 durability out of a log from an oak, and that's 10 building logs, or 1,000 pellets, which is extremely useful.
I'll tell you what, if you've been doing the blacksmithing, something I want to ask you, Buckle. How many iron ore does it take for you to get a lump of iron?
A lump of iron?
Yeah. By default, it's 8. If I'm not mistaken, 8 ore to a lump of iron.
I honestly don't pay enough attention to determine that. Okay. I only just started. This is my first time blacksmithing. I only just started last weekend, and
it's the first time we've been working Crucible since we built the walls.
I will kick your ass. I've been recycling the same batch of like 600 iron all week until I'm down to like 200 lumps. So just to get my skill up, because I'm trying to get 100 armor smithing. So I've just been doing that.
Well,
so I don't know.
Tip for you. Are you still leveling the skill?
Yeah, I'm at like 99.78 now.
Okay. If you smelt it into lumps and then just make throwing daggers.
Throwing daggers.
Yeah.
Alright.
Because then you can melt those back, but they only take 3 lumps, not 3 lumps and a handle, like a dagger.
Fair enough. I've been making ingots to make helms that I then smelt down because I'm trying to go for the armor smithing. So yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. So I started with like 60 helms, and then I got down to like 4 helms, and now I've just got some lumps.
Yeah.
They're really good quality lumps, though.
You see, that's it. I was getting really confused because I don't know if you've ever seen the prompt where it says you found a faster way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's for
now,
that action only, not for
time. That just seems to make the bar go quicker.
That's it. Yep,
mm-hmm.
that's all
that's
it is.
it.
But each ore of iron gives me 2 lumps.
I'll check it out tonight and report back. I honestly didn't pay attention at all.
It definitely did when I started.
Because he isn't coming on tonight. He'll be playing blacksmith all night.
Maybe. We'll see.
No. No. That's not happening.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, I just wanted to see because it definitely. I'm sure it didn't like when I first started.
Yeah.
Cause
not something I'm familiar with.
Once, because it's actually weird because I can now, if I was inclined to, get more out of say a block of 400 iron than I should be able to. Because 400 iron is 800 lumps, which
that doesn't
is
seem right.
What's that? Yeah. It's divided by 3, so that's nearly 300 knives.
Right.
Which, because my smelting is now at 100, I recycle into 3 ingots. 3 lumps as well.
Lumps. Yeah.
It just seems a little bit broken.
I'll check it out. Or if anyone in chat already knows. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow, Wizards, that many people on already? That it might not be a spot? That's encouraging. That's really encouraging.
Wow.
Booney Melly, thank you so much for pushing that whitelist.
Yep.
And getting to take it over from Jam so we can get those people pushed through.
Yeah. I'm
It'll be
guessing
fun
they
to
just
see
pested
a
him
very
enough.
populated server. It'll be fun to see all the newbies as well when you're running around in your royal and like kind of have food and you're like, here you go, have a bit of food. That's what I did the other night because when the first day of whitelisting came on, there was not a lot of the regular people on. It was quite early in the morning for me, so I got like a stack of food that was just in one of our things that there was like 40 of them we hadn't been using, and I rode around and I found all like the new little camps and things and gave them all 10 food each. It was really quite cute, and I made some really good friends.
You don't want to be queen? That's what a queen does.
No, a queen would have a servant do that for her.
No, queen of the people.
I'll say one thing about what kind of this goes back to the conversation we had before about respecting other people's stories and stuff. That is the one thing though that I like. Hey, we listed 80 more people, and you're like, oh shit. I hope they we have some of us have all these you're just hoping because everyone now knows each other, and now you're bringing a whole group of people in, and you're like, are they gonna respect these the storylines or
I can get that impression. We've been struggling.
It's scary.
As a town of people, like, we know each other. We've been playing with each other since season 1. Do we dare bring anyone new in? And as we've seen people, like, they're getting tired. The game's a grind, of course. Like stuff like the server petered away. So how do we, now it's picking back up again. We're going to need to fill our towns back up. Every town's lost people. How do we get some people in? So how do we trust them?
Right.
And then there's, I don't want to say resentment, but there's just the idea, like, I worked so hard to build this place, and someone's just going to come in and hang out in RP and, not have to work?
Right.
And I'm like, well... And someone else said, like, well, there's always dirt to dig. So I'm like, all right, go ahead. Get out there. And
like that. I've taken to doing a phase where I've accepted 3 new people on a monument, much without Crucible knowing. Sorry, guys. Done it. Too late.
Deal with it.
That's what I'm doing. I don't tell them. They can't moan at me. It's happened. Too late. Get over it. And what I've done is I've been really horrible to them. I've given them my sickle and gone, right, go get herbs. And if they're still there like 3 hours later, they can come on my monument, because if they're willing to work and they're getting the herbs, you're doing the grindy bit that even I don't want to do for my town. If you're going to do it for 3 hours, then yeah, fine, come in. And that's kind of like how they're basing it.
Roland do it.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. Yeah.
He was still there 3 days later, so we finally
Right.
one.
Because I had no idea what else to do. Right.
Fetching wood, all kinds.
Fetching wood seems a big one. That breaks people. You're like, go cut down that tree 1,000 yards away. Go get it.
Right. And I did for 12 hours a day.
Yeah. And don't forget to take the sapling and replant it.
Yep.
Dig up your stumps.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that.
See, that's Crucible. There you go. That's the first thing.
Oh no, I thought the caps were intentional there.
Yeah, I thought that was intentional.
I get that viewpoint where it's really tough. You don't want to let them in. They could steal from you. You can't trust them and stuff like that. But you're like, take a risk. Figure out who they are. It's
essentially that you deal with, because it's all that plays in your mind. You're always thinking about that. And,
I had a funny moment yesterday night when I was on the server, and there must be new players, and they must be trying to make their own storyline, and they came to Crucible's front door, and they was like, oh, you're all rich, established places, and we're all little peasants, and the queen obviously isn't doing anything, and they're like saying all this shit to me, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm going, oh, is she not? I'm like, have you met her? And they're like, no, and I'm like, okay. I was like, so do you want food? And they're like, oh yeah, we want food. So I gave them the food, and they was like, oh, I was like, we have some like low quality tools that we can give you. Here you go. Here's some spares that we have just lying around. Here you go. They're like, oh yeah, you're so kind. You're one of the rarest people in the town. I was like, yeah. I was like, you should probably tell the queen that you've met a nice person. They were like, yeah, we'll do that. They're like, where does she live? I was like, you're looking at her.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I didn't get that full story. That's great.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think it could be interesting. I mean, if I can actually get more than a few hours to get back in, I think what I'd like to do is go and set up with one of the new towns if I can.
That'd be nice.
I'm hoping they'd accept a very experienced blacksmith.
I think on the north was very empty. It's always been quite an empty area. There's only really been Sanctuary, Legend, and Crucible, and a lot of smaller settlements. I'm sorry if I missed you out. You live in the north, and you're like, I hate you. I only really know them ones. Yeah. But I took a ride yesterday.
Keep.
Shut up. No, they're below us. I count anything below Crucible as the start of the Midlands. So shut up, Buckle. Get in your car.
Suspiciously like something in the last season.
Well, no, but but no, just riding around the north. Like, what I mean is like the north of the mountain. Basically, it was empty nearly, and I went around there yesterday, and there's a lot of planning going on, and a lot of people building up there, which is really nice to see. Nice to see the little areas that people have been going, oh, that'd have been a good place to build, is now finally getting built on.
Yep, that's cool.
Grimm's grave is still there. Yes. No monument, but it's still there.
I wonder if I find it.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is let the new people in, not necessarily into your town, but like they can only make stories better.
Oh, right,
right. It's I've got same reservations kind of stuff, but they're only going to be able to add to it. And even if it's a negative addition in that they're main characters and things like that, it's still, just like we saw with the bandits, they're going to add something cool. It's content. It's going to be fun to play off of. And they're probably going to have some shit armor for a little while, so if they really piss you off, just fuck them up.
That's what I was going to say as well. Give them time to set up, give them time to build, because if you remember, that was Crucible's one big pet here at the beginning of this season, was that we couldn't fight until we built, and we didn't get time to build, and we obviously got wiped out because of it. Slesvig did the same. So give the people a time to build. Let them get a wall up, at least, so that they don't feel completely open to everyone.
Go menace them a little bit if that's your thing, or help them out if it's.
Do what Pi did. Go charge them for staying in that land, but don't just straight up go up and bandit them, because they'll just get bored and not play. So just give them a bit of time.
Yeah. That's some good advice. Good advice.
Yes. More people mean
more
guests.
Mrs. C hit it.
Yep.
Yep.
Self-serving, but I like
it.
it.
The old guests yet, but it's all good.
Yes, a lot of people want to get on here. A lot of people.
Yes, definitely. Right. Well, I think there's no more questions from chat. I guess we'll just about wrap it up there.
Sounds good. I think my dinner is long since cold.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to go to bed because I'm up in maybe 8 hours to go back to work.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh. And I'll log into Life is Food and deal with the next lot of drama.
Right.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be
Watch
good.
out for the bears.
Anybody doesn't know, I'm in the middle of the 24 hours, so.
Yep.
I'll come stop by and see Roland.
Yep. So I got another, 18 hours, 17 hours left, so.
Excellent.
You'll power through it.
Yeah, good.
We'll see how it goes.
People go and drop Genius a follow. Stop by, say hello. And I'll see you all next week for episode 7.
Yep.
Yes.
So, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Where is the VOD for episode 1?
Because I'm not partnered, I think they only stay for 2 weeks. So at some point, I do hope to get them onto YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I didn't discover it till episode 3 or episode 4, and then I went back and watched them. And then I was like, "Where's 1? I gotta see 1."
Yeah. 1 was just me, Buckle and Havoc talking.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You don't need to watch
Okay.
Just setting the theme, what we're gonna do. So we talked about our own characters much, and then asked each other questions. Much what we're doing here. Yep. It's tough to get guests for a show that don't have that hasn't had anything yet.
Yeah.
Is it going to be guests on a show we haven't had an episode of yet?
Understood.
But I do hope to get those up on YouTube sometime soon.
Awesome.
So once they do, I'll obviously tweet out from the Delving Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Both these people stream. Please go follow him. And as Real Genius said, he's in the middle of a 24-hour stream right now, so please go watch him. You get to see all the fun adventures of Roland. And he gets into a lot of mischief all the time.
He does. Yeah, and hopefully he'll be king by the end of the night. I mean, in Power of Slesvig.
Would be nice to see.
You never know.
I love that. I put that in the title as a joke. I put King of Slesvig. And everyone starts freaking out.
I was mental in the chat. I just came in and put King in capital letters with question marks. I was like, what?
It was like, I said of Slesvig. It wasn't everywhere, and it was a question mark. It was meant to be like, will he or won't he? It wasn't that everyone started freaking out.
You said the K word, like when I drop the Q word and everyone goes, figurehead. It's very dangerous to say the K word.
Right. Yeah. I learned that, so.
Life expectancy appears to be about 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah. As soon as you drop the royal words, that's it. Just dig your grave.
Yeah. New character creation coming up in a few hours.
Exactly. Brilliant. Alright, well, it's been great having you two on.
Thank you very much for having me, man. It was a lot of fun.
No, thanks.
Thank you very much.
And,
thanks, Cole.
We'll see you next week and hopefully see you guys in-game soon.
Indeed.
Catch you next week, guys.